All right. So, hello everybody.
Good afternoon, voice of Wooly.
Hello, voice of Pat. This is Audioland. This is where we're coming from.
You guys can't see us because, well, on my end, as you can probably hear on the audio, I'm busy fighting fucking chaos over here.
And on my end, there's a lot going on over here. That's yeah, it's not great. So we're gonna just go with audio for now. The way
So
God
I'm going to ask
intended.
a blunt question. Is this a... Oh, you motherfucker. Stop it. Uh, is this a podcast that you are recording while lying down?
Uh, not lying down, but um I have multiple chair types next to me that I will be cycling through.
Oh, I see.
So
I see.
I have a kneeling chair,
Mm-hmm.
and basically I have so I'll be standing up. I'll be using my brace. I'll be switching over to the kneeling chair as needed, and I'll basically be playing musical chairs to minimize what's going on.
How's your
And
back?
it's not great. It's yeah. Unfortunately, it basically was. It felt like it was on the mend last time, and I felt good enough to start doing to resume the week as it were, and then the infamous disco stream happened,
I'll
and
kill myself, you whore, I think it is.
exactly, yep. And then after that, it my back basically reset to day one in terms of feeling. And then I was like, all right, well, that's just a no go, you know. So, yeah. After that, I just kind of then went about um, seeing my doctor and talking to people and doing things and getting stuff. And I've since gotten quite a few back oriented things. I've gotten, like I said, a kneeling chair over here, which is a chair that you can almost do like anyway, you rest on your knees instead of on your butt, so it's more it's less pressure on your back. um I've got a brace which I use sometimes standing up, which also helps with the feeling. I got a couple of lumbar support pillows that you can put on chairs and things like that. And probably the craziest thing I got is um, a inversion table, which is something you lie down on, which then basically spins along a fulcrum point in the middle, and
I'm looking at this shit.
it puts your feet above your head.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
And that is just a bit of a like it that's a bit of an unnecessary, but it does give relief, because basically it like reverses gravity on your body for a bit.
Without you needing to do a handstand.
Exactly. It lets you do a handstand, so that just feels nice. So yeah, I'm doing one of those, looking into things and such as it were. I suspect that like a big culprit in this as well has been, well, I mean, the obvious culprit, of course, is just sedentary lifestyle and weight gain.
What?
Right. But I think while
Get
that's
out
the
of that.
I think while that's the culprit, I think the catalyst might have more to do with bed configuration, and like basically there's a I kind of have like mattresses, like we like that, are stacked, and like so. I think basically there's a point in time when there's a memory foam mattress that like I've been using, and like and I think basically when Punch Mom left town, the firmness changed in such a way with between having one person on it or two people on it, that that might have affected like how I slept on it, which then would have basically went into a range where it's like, yeah, this is probably too soft for how big you are now. And then
we had to change mattresses specifically for Paige's back problems because we had like a squishy mattress that
mm-hmm,
I enjoyed because of my corpulence,
mm-hmm.
and then that like damaged her back outright.
Okay.
It made an existing problem much worse.
Okay.
And then we got a Casper, which was a much firmer mattress, and all of a sudden her back problems just like got much better pretty much overnight.
So that's the kind of the magic of it, right? Is that like, so that's what I'm on a Casper, as I've mentioned before, and I think what's up is that looking it up and like talking to people about it as well, and figuring it out, it's like it can fix or make problems worse depending on your size and your weight and the softness of the foam of the bed. And so if you're in the right range that is like allows you to sink in just right and keep your spine straight, then it'll fix pain, it'll relieve pain. And it's the same for like Tempur-Pedic mattresses and anything that is kind of like that, the space age memory foam style beds. But if you are on something that is too firm or too soft, then it'll force a curve of your body going into the softness, or if it's too hard, your curve will be outside on top of a flat surface, and both of those exacerbate pain. So you kind of need to find out exactly where you're at in order to like use a good memory foam mattress, and so that's what it is. At this point, I'm gonna basically go replace it within the next day or two for something more
and
fun.
then it gets more complicated when you have a 12-pound cat and a 65-pound dog jockeying for position on top of your body.
It turns out that like that's it, and it turns out that like when the both of us are on it, it has the right firmness for me, but when she's out of town for a couple of weeks, then it suddenly is way too soft for me, and that's probably what kicked the whole thing off. So
now, I don't mean to be rude, Wooly, particularly since this is a relatively serious topic, and I do hope you get better ASAP. I have to pull a classic podcast bit and go, whatever, shut up. River City Girls 0 and City Girls 2 just got announced.
That's awesome.
River City Girls 2, one of the playable characters is that chick with the white hair and the abs from the shop.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, so this is E3 week. We probably could have mentioned. We're in the middle of hot news dropping in constantly. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. In fact, in the middle of this very episode,
we will gonna watch the Capcom thing.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a weird moment where we're gonna jump forward in time for all you MP3 folks, because we're just gonna see.
And the audio and the Capcom event will have just happened.
Yeah, and that'll be the way it sounds. So, E3's happening. There's a lot to cover in regards to that, which is great because ultimately, like when it comes to my week, all I really got is just this back shit.
Yeah,
and
I have a few things, but nothing killer.
Yeah, and like trying to well, I mean, right now, like as we speak, I'm literally in the process of like, so I mean, I saw a doctor again this morning. I had another appointment, and like I'm in the process of booking various like tests and talking to physio people and all kinds of things. So like it's a very busy organization of the next couple days to figure out what's going on and everything. Still think that it's inflammation based, but which means that like it should just go down over time as opposed to something much
as bad as it is. You don't want like spinal bifida or canastenosis or scoliosis or something like with your spine out of the way.
But what is clear is as soon as I get the go ahead to like be allowed to exercise and start getting back into shape, then like I'm more than fucking rip and raring to go on that, because it's like, yeah, I know a lot of this will go away once I just get it back down, but it's like it's currently not safe to begin, you know. So
Yeah.
um,
Well, I wish you all the best, buddy. Legit. I hope you get better. I've obviously been living with somebody who's had very similar,
mhm,
like, disastrous back problems for a while,
mhm.
and like, oh, it seems like the worst.
Yeah, it's. I mean, honestly, the day kind of sucks when you hit a point where, like, so I mean, I have you know, a number of different like anti-inflammatories that I've been prescribed, and between taking all of these, between you know, taking my mom's advice and having some turmeric in the morning, between putting
Ha!
the strap brace on for the, you know, the waist when standing up, and then kneeling, and then switching chairs, and then going over to the inversion table, and then doing occasional lying down, and then getting to a point where sometimes all versions of existence are just like I can still feel it. It's fucking exhausting. It's not great. So to that end, like, because my days have just been cycling through those things, and then sitting
Hmm.
down at the, you know, the chair with the lumbar support and everything. I haven't been in front of my couch. I haven't been in front of my TV or my consoles. I have not touched Guilty Gear Strive.
Oh man, that's a
So
bummer.
let's just get that out of the way. I literally have
Like,
not even touched it.
I streamed it on Tuesday, and I made the joke that you had faked your back problems to stay away from my Potemkin. Under the, I think, relatively sane assumption that you would have been better at some point in that week and hopped on. I did not foresee this continuing into this, so I do apologize.
I
Um,
just I'm not at the couch over there. I'm at the table over
yeah.
here, and honestly, it's like the only. So again, I'm working on the lore scripts, but it's the
Hmm.
only thing I can do sitting at the office table chair. You know,
Yeah.
like sitting at the couch and getting into like, you know, playing something that intense right now is not going to be my idea. But
Well, I can fill you in. It's good.
mm-hmm,
It's still good.
mm-hmm,
Um, Potemkin got hard nerfed, like we
mm-hmm.
knew about it, but feeling it is different. He's still kind of bullshit, but you know, he's definitely a lot fairer. Mei and her dolphin Totsugeki shit is
Mm-hmm.
the absolute most nightmarish shit I've seen in a fighting game in like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It is oppressive. It is unstoppable. It is
The
so mean.
Yeah, I had a feeling based on like I got that one set in with Justin Wong like in the first beta, and like he was displaying Totsugeki on fucking blast, and I'm like, okay, yep, that's an issue. And then
It's plus on block,
yeah,
man.
the unga bunga, as they say, is in full force with this
Um
game.
I
Everyone
want
who's
to give a
gorilla.
I want to give a possible award to what I'm going to describe as the king of gorilla normals
Yeah.
in Souls Standing Slash.
Mm-hmm.
Might be the best normal ever.
Mm-hmm.
It might
It
be.
hits you from
I
behind.
It hits you when you're behind him with
Yeah.
advantage.
Yeah.
It's so disgusting.
Yeah, and they did say in the developers interview that they wanted him to be strong. Not to say that they're not going to make adjustments in the future, but they wanted Soul to feel strong. So they did things like
He
that.
feels strong.
Yeah, yeah, I'd
The
imagine.
online play has totally held up. I mean, there's some can't connect to whoever, and you drop from matchmaking things that are to be expected. But I had a ton of matches, and they're all solid. I did notice one cultural thing. I don't know, maybe it's not cultural, but I played it a bunch on Tuesday, which was the early access thing for
Hmm.
the, if you bought the fancy version, and I barely made it into floor 8. right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I the next time I played it was on Friday, and I logged in and it said, "Nah, man, you're a floor niner now.
Okay.
Now that the game's actually out,
Okay.
we've analyzed the average strength of the Guilty Gear player base, and no, you can't floor 8. No, you can't live there anymore."
Interesting.
So it's kind of funny. It's like, hey, it's shocking. The people who spent the extra money to buy the game and play it early are on average one floor stronger
Than
than
everyone
the
else.
the
Yeah.
people who got it later in the week.
Well, it's
Game's great.
interesting to know that they average out in that way, where like it'll legitimately move you based on like the influx of players.
I was surprised. I expected to walk in and be like, I'm not ready for floor 9. No, I was totally ready for floor 9. Floor 8 became floor 9.
Mm.
I'm seeing people flaunting their wanted poster status. That
Mm-hmm.
system is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a great thing to shoot for. Yeah, it's like, hey, if you like fighting games even a little, Guilty Gear Strive is an excellent time. It's super fun.
Yeah, I've had friends ask me, "Hey, should I get it?" And I'm kind of like, I don't like just want to be the most obvious like mouthpiece
say
get
say
yell.
yes every time someone asks you
Yeah,
that
I
question.
need to have a conversation about like, what do you like, what do you think is cool, like let's just be honest and real about it. But it seems like a winner. I mean, that's but yeah,
It's
I look forward to being able to fucking boot that shit up.
it is the first fighting game in like I actually can't since like third. It's the first fighting game I can think of that I would ever recommend to anybody without qualification.
Mm-hmm.
There is no like hidden downside. Like even Third Strike Online, which was like a fantastic release of that game,
Mm-hmm.
has the caveat of you're gonna be going up against Third Strike players that have been playing this for 12 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? This one, there's just no caveat. It's like it's incredible, and the matchmaking system and the ranking thing with the floors, to my experience, it's worked out great. Almost all of my matches have been some degree of close.
Well, as we know, new franchises or new like entries into fighting games these days tend to launch very poorly and build themselves up to being good. So if this is the launch date, the version that we get a year or two from now is going to be really really good. You know, um, I like seeing some of these insane like let's say like full meter combos that people are doing that are like sea to shining sea, wall to wall,
Oh
coast to
yeah.
coast nonsense, where I'm like, in a million years I don't have that fucking swag. But seeing people drift down, getting underneath, getting back,
I'm still
you know,
trying
it's
to
so
learn how to
stylish.
jab into anti-air.
Mm, mm,
Like I'm
yeah.
still running baby shit by comparison. The jump from like floor 9 to 10 and 10 to wanted is like bigger than all the other floors combined. It feels
Mm.
like the killers that live on the top of floor 10 that are trying to break into the celestial realm are just fucking freaks.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um
And I, you know, at the very least, I think, for proper fucking research purposes, I think I'm gonna like at least hit the story mode, just as I'm working over here.
apparently it's weird even by Guilty Gear standards.
So I'm hearing, which you know, that's great. Looking forward to it. I mean, there's a lot of shit that like well, for one thing, a lot of folks are tuning into obviously my lore videos for the first time right around now, and like kind of going like, what the fuck, where's the last one? Because you know, like there's a big
Right.
gap in knowledge between where I left off with 5 and where this would start. But like, so I do feel bad for not being able to like hit that deadline of like the launch of the game. But putting it all together now, I do have like a full script for like what's left of the story, so everything that's like Revelator and Rev 2, and the level of density in this final piece is beyond anything else that's been in the series so far.
Mm-hmm.
The average episode has had 3,000 to 4,000 words, coming in at about 25 minutes per episode. This has 15,000 words.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it can't be done in any reasonable single video manner, because it essentially would be, hey, would you like to sit down for 2 hours to go through what's left here? And it's 2 hours that is compressing about, well, let's see here, 26 story mode arcade prologues, the full 4-hour movie, and then 3 after episodes. Essentially a full season of anime.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna basically try to compress it into 2-hour-long things that come out like a day or two apart from each other, so that at the very least it's just not like a shock to everybody who's like been watching 25-minute episodes so far, you know. But it's intense. There's a lot left to cover. Yeah, but you know, I mean, that's literally like just my entire existence has just been fucking that shit plus back. So that's me.
Hey, you want some Guilty Gear news off of Event Hubs
Sure.
from a few minutes ago? Sorry, data miners have pulled out
Oh, yeah.
the fucking DLC lists.
So I didn't look at the list, but I did hear a couple days ago that they were able to scan and they figured out what the first season is going to be. I don't know what it is yet, but I did see someone hint at the fact that like the most of it would be characters from story mode. But I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Do you want the list? Do we want to talk about that?
Let's. You know, I think I'm looking at the chat, and some people do want to know, and some people don't. So, for the sake of those who don't, maybe we should.
Okay, well, it's a June 12th article on Event Hubs called "Guilty Gear Strive Season Pass Data Mined." First 5 characters revealed. So you can go down to Event Hubs.
If you do want to know, you can go look it up. All right, how about that? We'll leave it. We'll leave it up to the listener.
I'm pretty happy with the list. It seems like a good batch.
Okay.
Yeah, Guilty Gear's good. Shocker? Question mark? Like,
here, if we're at this point, I might as well just take a glance at it.
I'll just give you the list in Discord.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a decent shot. It's a decent group.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of those I'm really happy about.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, go check out that article if you want to get that spoiled for you. But anyway, so what beyond that, I guess, was what about you?
Okay, so the number one thing that happened to me in the past 2 weeks is that my woman came back to me. Huzzah! Hooray! And I forgot what it's like to have Paige around. Paige being around is like living with a whirlwind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like living with a cartoon. In the past couple of days, the woman has, let me get the list out, broken a lamp, broken a door, almost broke her hand roughhousing with the dog, then almost got her ring stuck on that hand, hurt her back by having the dog lay on her. We sat down to stream the other day, the E3, and she just spilled a whole coffee all over her, and then got up, and when she got up, she unplugged the camera and kicked off the mixer. And then when I showed her how to make the coffee, she burned her hand on the coffee pot. And then when she was making her coffee, she spilled the honey on the dog. And then just this morning, she accidentally poured an entire casserole into the oven.
You are living in an episode of Eric Andre. At least
I love that woman.
the intro.
But it's
Wow.
yeah, no, that's what it is. It's the first 90 seconds
The
of
first
an Eric
90
Andre
seconds.
show.
Yeah.
Oh man. So her hand isn't broken. Her rings can come off if she needs to. The oven is fine. The dog has been dehoneyed. The lamp, I have a weird, so one of the reasons the camera's not here is that I'm going through a weird series of lighting situations that I'm currently in the midst of. So that'll get fixed eventually. But yeah, so that's back. Couldn't be happier. But also, oh god.
Mm-hmm.
As for video games, I'm plowing through the Mass Effects. Hey, guess what? Those games are great, and I love them. The first two, anyway. I'll judge the third one more later. I played a little bit of Backbone, where he plays the raccoon in Vancouver, solving crimes and shit.
Which one's that?
You not seen Backbone?
No.
Go look it up. It's got a really incredibly beautiful pixel art style. It's a murder mystery noir that takes place in Vancouver, but you play as a raccoon and you're investigating otters and bears and whatnot.
Okay.
It's fantastic. I also beat FF7 Intermission.
Just the extra shit, or you replayed it?
Just the extra shit. And
is it its own menu?
It is. Like you hit right trigger on the menu, and you move over to a different title screen that has Yuffie's
wonderful
ninja star in the ground like Cloud's sword.
Okay.
It's a good DLC. It's got a little bit of padding where they keep putting you into combat arenas. It's got Fort Condor in it, and Fort Condor fucking rules. It's legitimately amazing. For the next game in the series, I legit hope it becomes like a triple triad kind of thing, where
do they like blow some other like later wads too early with this too?
How by later do you mean all the way out in Dirge of Cerberus?
I mean beyond disc 1 or 2, you know?
I'm talking all the way out into Dirge of Cerberus.
Okay. Jeez. Yeah. All right.
There's some Kingdom Hearts shit going on in that thing. And there's no ghosts, so it all happened in the original. You just didn't see.
Deep ground.
Yeah, deep ground. That's right. They integrate it pretty well. You could say that Intergrade is pretty well integrated. Ha ha. Seriously, though, Fort Condor fucking rules. Put out a Fort Condor game. It's great. It's great. Aside from that, Christ, what else? E3's been happening.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like killing Chaos.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously there's a docket, and there's a... There's a greater docket and there is a lesser docket, you know?
Yeah.
So if we're rolling in, we might as well roll in.
Let's roll in. Let's just roll in.
Well then let's take care of some sponsors and
let's do it.
And just for not this week, but like in at least the upcoming weeks, we're gonna have to like balance out for the spots we missed. Because shit gets a little weird and juggled when we have to
because they're like, hey, we paid you for X spots, and we're like, haha, we just didn't do a podcast at all.
So we're gonna have to make up for those. So there might be an episode or two with more.
Might be some double dips.
The usual amount. But with that being said, this week the podcast is sponsored by Green Chef, and Green Chef is all about getting you the healthy food straight to your door. That's the key word. That's the operative word.
You know, Wooly, if you had had
like
more
that.
Green Chef, you might have had more extra good padding between your bones and your back wouldn't hurt.
Well, first off, fuck you. I eat me a lot of green. I get a lot of Green Chef, but the problem is too much. The problem is too much. But if you are definitely looking at getting yourself some healthy recipes, perfect for keto, if you're doing plant-based diets, if you're doing paleo, whatever it is, They are in there with a diverse array of planned meals, plenty of options to choose from each week, and they work all around your lifestyle. Handpicked, organic veggies, high quality proteins, whatever you need to get together a sustainable meal kit. And that's the nice part about getting these meal kits together with Green Chef is that they have the portions picked out. You don't gotta fuss and muss with how much is too much, too little, what to do. You can flex on anyone you're preparing a meal for by making it seem like you know what you're doing.
I wish I could make myself look like I know what I'm doing. Will Green Chef help with this?
They will help to give the appearance of you knowing what you're doing. It's
create the illusion.
Yes, you will not necessarily convince anybody, but you will put the energy out there of knowing what you're doing. So that's what you want to get going. And again, the variety of meal types and options is always key here, because I know that even though I do my best with my greens, I'm gonna have to do better in the near future, and I'm gonna be getting more strict about it. So this is the type of thing that is absolutely crucial and really handy. So go to greenchef.com/90superbeast and use code 90superbeast to get $90 off, including free shipping. That's greenchef.com/90superbeast and use code 90superbeast to get $90 off, including free shipping. Yeah.
Thanks, Green Chef.
Thanks, Green Chef. #1 meal kit for eating well. This week, we're also sponsored by Imperfect Foods. So, we've touched on the topic, but look, we are not so perfect, you and I. Dare I say, we are imperfect, flawed.
Speak for yourself.
Flawed creatures we are. Well, if you
man, I said it before and I'll say it again. I used to work at a grocery store. You ever see a fucked up potato?
Yeah.
It's like got a potato, but it's like two potatoes. It's got like an extra potato coming out of it. People look at that potato and they go, ew, potato. That potato's fine.
But
it's bigger than a regular potato.
See, but what happens when you look at that potato and you relate to it on a spiritual level?
I don't know about that.
You stare into the potato's soul and it stares right back.
Well, actually, you'd stare into its eyes. But seriously,
instead of having that stuff go straight in the trash, Imperfect Foods is here to make sure that you can get yourself perfectly good foods, even if they're just a little misshapen, even if they're a little, odd. You don't want to be wasteful about it. So foods of all shapes, sizes, and physical appearances can be saved by you using Imperfect Foods. Yeah, they dump out a lot of stuff that's wasteful just because it's like not the shiniest and most like pristine.
The classification of imperfect food is actually like really like, man, grocery stores are a bunch of babies. They're like, oh, this tomato's a little too round on this side. Toss it. Like, it's ridiculous. Most people wouldn't even tell the difference.
Madness. So, never mind all of that. Get Imperfect Foods that are sustainable, affordable, and you're getting produce, quality protein, eggs, dairy, pantry staples, whatever you need. And they add in fun and tasty discoveries each week, so you can try out new items that you can only get from Imperfect. So all you got to do is sign up, create a personal, flexible grocery plan, and shop each week to get the affordable groceries you're looking for. And then when you get your little bumpy shaped potato or your round tomato, you can look at it and use it with love because it was saved.
You might get like a vegetable that looks like a celebrity, and then you can eat it
instead of taking selfies and like putting it out there for the world to
I mean, you do both. You just do one before the other.
Well, right now, for Imperfect Foods is offering listeners 20% off your first 4 orders when you go to imperfectfoods.com and make sure to use the promo code SUPERBEAST. Try Imperfect Foods now for a limited time. Get 20% off your first 4 orders on your first order. Go to imperfectfoods.com and use SuperBeast to sign up. Once again, 20% off your first 4 orders at imperfectfoods.com. Offer code SuperBeast.
What if you got like a tomato that looked like a sussy baka, and then you're like, oh no, it's an imposter. It's an imposter on us.
If the tomato had like a visor on it. Amogus.
Oh, that video of Hank or whatever guy's name is, it's killing me. It's killing me.
If I had a tomato that was twerking, I'd eat it.
Yeah.
Anyway, last but not least, podcast this week is also sponsored by Bespoke Post.
Bespoke Post.
Yeah. This, I believe we were talking about not too long ago. Bespoke Post is here to hook you up with a box of awesome. So it's basically collections of cool stuff that you're going to enjoy with the summer. The summer is upon us. I almost said Among Us. Fuck. But I won't. The summer is upon us. And there's, basically just a collection of different useful items that you can enjoy the outdoors with, or the indoors, or just nightlife, whatever it is, whatever kind of fits your style or fancy. You basically get started by taking a quiz at boxofawesome.com, and your answers will help them pick the right box of awesome for you. Basically, they have a ton of categories to choose from. If it's free to sign up, and you can skip a month or cancel any time. Each box has over $70 worth of gear inside, but only costs $45. And I can tell you from looking at the boxes, I was down with just straight like the coolest thing for me was just like a hammock. I always wanted a hammock, and you can get a hammock and a nice outdoor blanket to hang from a tree.
So you may want to stay away from hammocks at this current second in your life.
At this current juncture, but the idea of swinging on a nice outdoor comfy hammock in the summer,
pleasant. It's a pleasant.
It's very pleasant. So that's a cool idea that's possible inside one of their box of awesome possibilities. So you can check them out, and you can get 20% off your first monthly box when you sign up at boxofawesome.com. Enter code SUPERBEAST to checkout. That's boxofawesome.com and code SUPERBEAST for 20% off your first box. Thank you, Bespoke Post.
Thanks, Bespoke Post.
All right. So, upper docket.
Now we got to do the E3 thing. Oh, boy.
Upper docket.
You know, I left an upper docket once at a friend's house.
You know, the problem with leaving an upper docket is that you're implying that you have to reach in and set it up. That's gross.
No, you climb up.
That's insane. Then you risk death to do it.
No
you risk
way.
Death.
Nah, you climb up.
All right, so, I haven't been following these conferences to their entirety. I've just been clicking on the trailers that come in the aftermath because I've learned better in my old age. I know they have the stage shows, but really what I want is 5 trailers on a website, and then I just click on the one that interests me.
Well, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just go look at my streams, and then I'll tell you what things happened.
I've got a
apparently
list.
The Ubisoft. Yeah, you got a list.
Well, yeah.
We'll do that. That's better.
I've got a list. I've got a big old
Tell
roundup.
me about your list.
So the upper docket is the things that I thought were interesting or worth clicking on, and then there's the rest, so to speak. something. I'm gonna kill chaos. And
I'm gonna kill chaos.
We talked last episode about the rumors of a Team Ninja Cross Final Fantasy game, and it was pretty much like it was a rumor, but it was being reported heavily by like industry insiders as a real project. Then the trailer dropped, and it certainly is a real project.
I mentioned that if this were to occur, that we may possibly be looking at Final Fantasy Other M. And when that trailer dropped, oh boy, I'm big excited. You gotta kill chaos, Wooly.
It's surprising because, like, the dubbing in the trailer for Final Fantasy Origins does a lot of the heavy lifting in giving the appearance of this thing looking really not great.
We'll expand this afterwards to the whole Square Enix presentation. The game looks bad.
But
it looks like
the
fucking,
dubbing is doing heavy lifting on that trailer.
It looks like Quantum Theory. Do you remember that? Gotta kill it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's the era. Quantum Theory, Never Dead, all that, like, mid-aughts, 360.
It looks like a PS3 game.
360 exclusives. And
that are the first time the companies use the Unreal Engine.
And so you see him walking around, and that's the thing too. For a second, I was like, because of the sword on his back, I was kind of like, wait a second, are you doing something like based on like what they just put out with FF7R? And then it's like, no, Ninja Theory's doing its own thing here. They got their own boy.
No, it's a fucking isekai.
So this is where we kind of see that screenshot on the website. There's a tweet that who put it out? Was it? Yeah, Chip Cheesem put out a tweet that was basically saying, here's some art from the website that show you the three protagonists in their normal modern day clothing, including just Ninja in the long t-shirt and the long shirt and jeans.
Like just three guys hanging out at a gas station. Me
with my plaid hanging off my waist, and then main character from every mid-aughts shaved head game standing there getting mad at chaos.
I've been thinking about this since the trailer dropped, and the characters' names are Jack, Ash, and Jed. Jack is the main character, Ash is the black guy, and then Jed is the redhead. And I went down and tracked down the CG render of all these characters to zoom in super close. And I don't know if this is like hilarious or cool or gauche. And I've been waiting to talk to you about it, Wooly, about how you feel about it. I think Ash is a black mage in the most blunt, literal terms possible. Because I pulled out his CG render and I zoomed all the way in, and I think his fucking eyes are yellow.
Does his outfit imply black mage like things?
Yes.
Oh.
I think they literally took the classic void with yellow dots and turned it into a black guy with yellow eyes.
I mean, look, in a world where Zack, the Black Ranger, is repping his Mastodon and there's just nothing we can do about it, we're still here. we're still here. All right, sure. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that there's no let's say Native American red mages or anything along those lines.
Not to my knowledge.
No? Okay.
No.
So what or even your main character wearing white with the red trimmings of the white mage. Like we're not doing
Well,
any of.
just wait to see if we get the healer in the group and it's like the fucking Aryan Ubermensch.
Because it's just, if you're gonna do it, then why not just go across the board? Why you gotta do us? Just be stupid across the board, idiots. All right. Well, anyway,
That game looks like terrible.
I was shocked because it was the main, like I saw it on like the Twitter newsfeed or whatever. It's like, oh, new Final Fantasy, and I just clicked on it, and like 10 seconds in, it's like, that's an awkward read, but okay. And then halfway through it, it's like, oh my god, this is like, I hope the combat's good, because Ninja Theory can do a good job with that. Ninja Theory, Team Ninja, but what the fuck is, like, and then the Garland showing up, and then you are chaos, I am and then like the word chaos is said like 15 times, and it's just like like what are they actually going for here?
There's something that Paige brought up that will totally save it, in my opinion, which she brought up, what if, because the other two characters have normal dialogue. All the characters have normal dialogue except for Jack. And she brought up, what if it's a Doom Guy situation where Jack is like a fucking freakazoid who just like gotta kill chaos, and the other characters are like, oh, okay, buddy, we're gonna go kill chaos. It's okay. Just chaos is gonna be over there. Like, that would be hilarious.
Now, there's an entire possibility here, if you're being extremely charitable, that this game is just this is just the worst possible trailer the game could have ever gotten.
Well, Wooly, luckily, they put out a demo that we could all play to see and believe, except that demo is fucking broken.
Okay. So, broken as in, once you get it going, you're having a hard time understanding the mechanics?
No, it's corrupted. You can't play it. You download it from the store, and it's broken.
Chaos, huh?
Chaos.
Man.
I have a full LP on my channel, which is about 3 minutes long, of me downloading the demo and hitting the button, and it go, corrupted data, download it again. And I go, that's some chaos, and then I call it a night.
If this is actually an isekai and it's real people dropped into this world, as the implications are, not framing that from the jump in the trailer was a humongous mistake, because everyone's just looking at this and going, are you retelling FF1 in the most ridiculously stupid way possible?
So I'm gonna tell you what I believe this game actually is, because Final Fantasy 1 is covered in multiple re-releases, as well as being the core plot of Dissidia and like a subplot in other games. What I believe is happening is that this is an isekai, and that your characters will all fail and die, because Final Fantasy 1 has an infinite time loop that only the 4 Warriors of Light are able to complete. And the first thing I said when I saw that is that the number of people in that party is wrong. It is 4 Warriors of Light.
So the strangers in paradise are all the failed attempts, and then the real hero of light with his blue armor and shining Griffith hair is the one.
I'm going to assume that it is going to end with the failure against Garland, or chaos. And then you're going to look into the distance and you're going to see the 4 warriors with the orbs on the way, or some shit. Because that gets around the problem of Team Ninja like fucking up like this super classic.
Right. But
and
you're
also
still
like
looking at it, I mean,
the what do you call it, the setting of the game appears to be the Shrine of Chaos, which is like laughably limited in FF1's like story. Like that's the first dungeon only.
Man. Like, if everyone's already sick of the word because of how bad the trailer was, like, how is the game gonna fucking, like, it's just, it's such a dead on arrival type of, like, fucking, I feel bad. I feel
It's a total
bad.
comedy of errors, because if the game plays well, all this shit is forgiven, but the demo broke! Like, holy shit!
And they've built up, like, so much goodwill in my heart with Neo, you know? Like, they know how to fucking make a good-ass game if need be.
Oh, it's possible that the game will be, like, great. It's just, like, completely embarrassing. And
So
that's kind of its own appeal.
The other weird bit in general is kind of like, even if you're going for real, like, not GTA, but, like, sub-fucking Saints Row, like, you know, just mid-aughts, 25 to life characters.
Yeah.
Dropped into a FF world, like, they could be more interestingly designed, regardless of, you know, the era that you're going for. Like,
on the other hand, I forget who tweeted it, but they were right, and it was people complaining about Final Fantasy main characters being a bunch of twinks in like frilly dresses for like 20 years, and finally when you get a bunch of dudes that look like they were teleported out of a Home Depot, everybody starts to complain. Right? It's like, that's true. That is true.
These are your only choices.
Yeah. You can get Vaughn with no shirt, or you can get these dudes.
I mean, you know, someone posted a picture of fucking what's his name? 15 boy. Noctis just wearing like a big goofy jacket and cap, you know, and you're just kind of like,
it's like, this was your main character.
This was your main, and you're like, yeah, that was nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. You know, Prompto and the boys, they're there. They're doing their thing. You know,
I think the funniest thing is that we have like the post that was the classic red armor, like fighter looking art.
I saw the
original.
Yes, yeah.
And then right next to it is the redraw Amano with the blue armor and all the spikes and the flowing cape. And then the really aggressively like sexy man whore one from, God, what was it, like Exvuius or something?
With the flaming red hair.
People got all mad because his lats were showing and he was like a sex freak. And all the chicks were crazy and all the boys were crazy. Mobius, that was him. And then this dude, Jack. Right? And it's like, these are all the same character. like I've never seen a wider variation in depiction.
And when I see that fighter with the red hair, I just think of like 8-bit theater.
Yeah,
with the sword chucks and all that stupid shit.
I started to get confused talking about Final Fantasy 1 because it was like, well, the party was you know, fighter, black mage, red mage, and thief. And then I'm like, wait, no, it's not. That's 8-bit theater.
8-bit theater. yeah, totally. And white mage, yeah, and it's just and black mage does a Hadoken too.
Yeah, totally.
No, the deal though is that, like, you know, fighter's really stupid in that depiction, but dare I say, Jack might be worse. Like, it doesn't seem like a real person.
Off not just stupid. Jack comes off like an insane person.
Yeah. That's
and Nomura says he wants to write a story about an angry man, which is a hilarious thing to say in an interview. But Jack doesn't come off angry. Jack comes off completely fucking unhinged.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild.
All right, Capcom's about to start in 4 minutes, so we're keeping our eyes on that.
That's not true at all. Capcom starts at 5:30 Eastern.
That's true. That's a lie. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody in the chat is big lying.
Well, anyway, so
But
yeah, I feel bad for Team Ninja. I feel just like this is one of the botchiest reveals of the week, it seems. And the demo that might have proved, like people like prove them right or wrong or whatever. The demo that might have proved it was worth it doesn't even fucking work. So on both fronts, the whole thing just falls apart. Yeah,
it's something just like there. I saw a tweet that made me think of this, and it was that there's somebody out there in an office that was going, it's okay if everyone makes fun of it because the demo's going to blow them away.
Mm-hmm.
That is just pacing in their office, smoking and freaking out right now.
So there's something about the timing of like this trailer too, and the way it depicts things, because unlike that era of like mid-aughts game like action whatever, because I did see like a funny tweet complaining about like how many different versions of the same game were announced effectively, and I went to go check out Babylon's Fall, and
this is the next thing I want to talk about.
Platinum's name is on that, so you have
Platinum's name's on it.
You have all my goodwill, and I watched the trailer, and like I forgot what happened in the trailer before it ended.
Have you recently watched the original trailer?
No.
You should. Hold on, let me go and grab it for you.
It's one of the most underwhelming trailers I've seen.
All right, so if that's fresh in your mind, I'm gonna send you the original trailer. Literally watch any 10 seconds from it. Literally anywhere at all. And
okay. Yeah, okay.
You will see that it is a Platinum game.
Yes. I'm looking at it.
Babylon's Fall 2021 is a Square Enix game that Platinum worked on.
Okay, this guy's doing an aerial rave. Yeah, okay.
So
it's just not the same game.
I saw people talking about this, and take it with a grain of salt because it is literally just people talking about this. But supposedly Square was very confused by Monster Hunter World's success and has been trying to figure out why they don't have one of those. And whether or not that's true or not, when I look over at Babylon's Fall and I see that it is a live service game and it looks like complete goddamn shit, and in the interview, we got guys saying it's like a Nier Automata that you can play forever that doesn't have to end.
Yes, and then
Mr. Fields goes out and gets frame 1 of Nier Automata, which is everything that lives is designed to end.
Yep.
This is like corporate's hand reaching down and puppeting a corpse level shit.
Yep. I'm okay. Well, this makes a lot more sense now. We saw a version of this game that was much more Platinum, and now it's whatever the fuck that was. I like, again, not being done justice by its really like awkward voiceover throughout the trailer at the same time. Super underwhelming with that in that regard. And then you're just watching the combat and I'm like, this is nothing. I have like less than zero interest in any of this.
So I am not the person to make this discussion, like this point, but the people who made it are many and are right. The game's art style is terrible. It legitimately looks like a smeared YouTube video on purpose.
Yeah. So the screenshots Nibelian tweeted out that are like direct feed, and if you go look at the up close like ground and like the foliage and such, it has a blur to it that's supposed to look painterly, but the effect just looks artifacted.
It looks like you're running your stream in 240p.
Very strange decision, alongside a game that is also not like impressive in its in its combat or fucking voice acting
And
capacity and
after
live
that,
service.
they showed 35 minutes of Marvel shit.
So. Yeah, man. Now, Min, I did see he tweeted out a thing where they announced ahead of time that this was going to be a primarily Square Enix Montreal presentation, not a Square Enix, Japan presentation.
Yeah, even under that context, it still fell really flat. They spent 20-ish minutes on a really mediocre-looking Guardians of the Galaxy game that when it was about halfway through, I said out loud, if this game is coming out in 6 months or less, it is going to be a fucking disaster. And then the end of the demo comes up and goes, October 2021. And it's like, oh, shit.
So the Telltale one came and went, as far as I know, and I heard people enjoyed that, but yeah, the Square Universe Avengers games, Avengers and I guess now Guardians games, like there's absolutely this weird quality of like, well, I know you're trying to say this is not the likeness of the actor in the movie, but it's clearly the energy of the character from the movie, and you're not going like for example, Deadpool, when they brought Deadpool in, like they kind of there's a point where you can go like, all right, they're going more so comic book based than movie based and such, and you can kind of see like there's where they pull in enough original material and so on. And here I kind of felt like I'm like, you're kind of just trying to slightly dodge not having Chris Pratt.
So it's the same complaint that that I and many other people made about the Avengers game, which is you've decided to go for a hyper-realistic style. So the first thing people are going to say is, that's not Robert Downey Jr., that's not Chris Pratt. Like, go cartoon, and then that problem goes away. Did you watch the demo?
No, I just saw the trailer.
So, Wooly, Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Who are you excited to play as?
The team.
Star-Lord, that's right.
Yeah.
Star-Lord only.
Yeah. When the gameplay started in the trailer, and I was like looking, and I was waiting for the camera to switch, and then it just, instead of switching, it just said, "You are Star-Lord," and it was like, oh man, like missed opportunity to have a fun Groot section, missed opportunity to mix it up and do some fun things with that, especially since Avengers was selling the whole roster in the fucking bits and pieces that it did. Maybe that's why it's going to come out so soon, though. Maybe that's why October 2021.
Maybe.
Right?
And then you watch the Star-Lord gameplay, and it's an auto lock-on third-person shooter, and you hit the face buttons for the other cast members, and they do like an attack, and it's like, man, it looks weak. It looks real weak. That's Square Enix. And the most upsetting thing is they go, and we're going to remake Final Fantasy 1 and 6 in the pixel style that you want. And then they showed a logo, and then they didn't show it.
So I just saw there's actual side-by-side pixel comparisons, and it's weird because they're not doing like a blurry dumb filter. It is pixel art, but it's new pixel art.
Again,
it's from what I can see, like the quality varies from character to character, but it's redone pixel art.
Just clean up the Super Nintendo sprite.
Yeah, it's unclear why they went that route. But that's
all anyone wants. All anyone wants is the fucking Super Nintendo or possibly GBA sprites.
But there's a supreme resistance to actually delivering that stuff. So it's still got to be like, let's be nostalgic about that and bring you that energy, but not actually give you the thing, though. We're going to do other things. We're going to still... we got to do something here. We can't just give it to you as it was. I'm not sure. I mean... Again, I don't. As someone who hasn't played a lot of the classic FFs, like I'm not going to be able to.
It's totally pointless. It's like people are saying they have to redo the sprites because they're not on CRT monitors anymore. But the new sprites have the same problem in that they look like they were built for CRTs. Like some of the characters' proportions change significantly. Some of their hair colors change. It's pointless. It's totally pointless. Like I don't get it.
Anyway, so that's what they're doing. Any update on that FF7? The entire story told through chibi fat characters mobile game.
Nope, they showed a trailer for the Battle Royale game for your phone.
What was that thing called?
The First Soldier.
Okay. Well, cool. Anyways,
they also showed off like a weak ass fucking Life is Strange remaster that looked like identical.
Yeah. Anyways, other Upper Decker news. Elden Ring
Hit me.
is real.
Hey, yeah.
Elden
Not
Ring.
only is it real, it's the same trailer that leaked out.
I mean, listen. So here's the thing about it: is like that shit was hot. It was fucking sick. But also, as soon as it cut to the naked guy, and it was showing like just what their humans look like, I was like, God damn it! You still haven't fucking attempted to get any better or more like modern with your character models. Like they haven't leveled up any of that shit.
Put the armor on and just shut up.
It looks fine in the shiny new armor, but their people still look fucking like they're from 10 years ago. They don't give a fuck. But it looks incredible. It looks so good. And
meanwhile, there is like
refuse.
the environmental and armor design and the monsters. Oh man, it looks immaculate. And you're gonna get a magic horse because it's gonna be a big map thing.
Yeah, that's how you fucking create the problem and then solve it immediately. Is your horse disappears and reappears as you summon it on the spot.
Yeah, just fuck it. It's a magic horse. Shut up. Just shut the fuck up.
Now, but take the human model in this game and put it next to fucking Chaos Man, and put that next to Babylon's Fall dude. And we're looking at the same era here, guys. Like, let's not fucking mince words.
The trailer came out, and the trailer looks great. And more importantly than that is that there was an interview with IGN with Miyazaki that has a lot of deets in it.
So I only got through the first little bit because I was reading it right before we started. Big thing off the jump, I can see 6 worlds, 6 bosses, all interconnected from a hub world.
Yeah, I got a whole clip notes here that Nibelion put together. Thanks, man. So it's gonna have a world map, like a hub, like a Breath of the Wild kind of zone, like a big open area that has little mini dungeons and castles and shit, and that will have a map. There will be a map for that zone, an in-game map. But after that, on the edges, there will be 6 major. They're calling them dungeons that will each be realmed by a demigod, which says to me that they are splitting the difference between Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1, which is about as ideal as I could have possibly wanted.
So I'm gonna go ahead and just create a role play scenario in my head where Miyazaki and the translation team were sitting or Skyping or Zooming with George R.R. Martin, and they were describing their games and the immersiveness of their atmosphere. And then George R.R. Martin was like, okay, so let's start drawing up a map. And they're like, oh, we don't usually make maps in our game.
We don't do that.
And then he went, here. Put a fucking map in it. Because his worlds are nothing but maps. The fucking Westeros, Essos, Ulthros maps. Like, that's his whole thing. His whole thing is maps. How dare you?
So let's see. They're confident it's going to arrive on the release date. There's a character creator. There's multiple endings. They describe that there'll be a much higher degree of freedom, so that there's like a suggested order through the 6 dungeons, but you can go pretty much wherever. Optional bosses. The battle art system from Dark Souls 3 will return, but it won't be fixed to your weapon. You can just pick it. It'll be more like Sekiro. So those cool, fancy super shits that you were seeing the characters do, those will be things that you can just pick and equip. There will be spirits like that act like summons, and some of them will be useless.
Useless. Okay.
There will be useless spirits that have other traits.
Okay. It's good. It's good. I like this. In the trailer, it's well. Okay, no, go ahead with the points.
Multiplayer is going to be mostly in the open fields, and you can't ride your horse when you're playing multiplayer. And that the game's difficulty is going to be more manageable than prior games because you will have more options to deal with the environment and enemies.
No horse in multiplayer, so that must mean that the fog walls are still going to go up in the area you're in.
I think what it's really going to mean is that when you load in other characters, there's only so far you can get away from each other before like the game goes fuck off.
When they did show off like the combat and stuff, they were really emphasizing horse jousting. Like,
yeah, there's a lot.
There was like 3 or 4 different shots of like, look at the horse fight, though. So I feel as if even if that's not going to be something you get in multiplayer, it's going to be heavily pushed in the single player aspects of the game. Like it's being pushed heavy in the trailer. One
of the last most interesting things in this interview is that they said that they intentionally made the fall damage really low so that you can explore without being punished too severely. Which, thank God.
That's cool. If you can, like, jump off your horse and get some extra fall leeway, that'd be interesting.
The game might have a fucking straight up jump button, which would make the game play dramatically different.
Well, it shows you the horse crossing a chasm at some point.
Yeah, but that could be an auto jump, right? Or that could be the running sprint jump thing. What's most interesting to me is this is the first post Sekiro Souls type of game. And I would assume that they would have taken some of the lessons they learned in making Sekiro control much better than a Dark Souls game and put it on Elden Ring.
Now, do you think it's possible that, seeing as Miyazaki has said, to us, Dark Souls is over, right? Yeah. And then they made Sekiro, and like we've known about Elden Ring for a bit here. Is it possible that, like, in as much as they're kind of being like, they're making it's like, hey, we're doing Souls with George R.R. Martin on our side, like,
yeah,
there could be a willing departure within the studio that like doesn't want to just make the same thing as much anymore, and they want to emphasize the differences. So while not necessarily Sekiro, I could see like you said, a jump button. I could see a major change to things like stamina, or like durability, or the way weapons work. Like I could see them trying to still distance this.
I have a strong suspicion that the end of the Dark Souls series, and the reason it's not called Dark Souls 4, is more due to deals about the name Dark Souls than it has to do with anything else. Because I believe Namco technically owns part of the name Dark Souls.
But I guess if you just, like, if we could see an internal poll right now, as far as like how many of the people at the studio on the team want to like make games that, even if they're not Souls in like name, they're Souls in strict formula.
Oh, this is Dark Souls 4. Like, let's all be fucking for real.
Well, yeah, but
Like, look at it.
No, and yes, for sure. But I mean that,
Fucking
like,
look at it.
but I mean what I'm talking about is like on a system level, I can see them trying out wild shit that they usually wouldn't have gone with, like with Sekiro being super.
If you want to be an asshole, you could say this is like Kingsfield, like 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever the fuck it would be. Like, they have kind of been making this type of game over and over for like 20 years. It's just they only got popular relatively recently.
And you also like well, I mean, again, they're emphasizing the horse part, but you do get away with trying new shit out without people going fuck this compared to the last 3 games.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's like, well, this doesn't belong to that series. So the series is one thing, the world is one thing, but then the mechanics are also storied and become part of the legacy of the IP.
It's
you start
just
a new
like,
IP, you can do new shit.
You look at this and like this is you remember what, like, Bloodborne's different, right?
Yep.
Even though we know internally Bloodborne was called Beast Souls for a while. Like, I would not be shocked if this was called Elden Souls at some fucking point in development.
Grim Souls.
Yes, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
that trailer was fucking hot.
That's a hot trailer.
Wolf Guts is hot. Mask
The tree. Like, a lot of people don't even realize that the tree is like probably the most overt Berserk reference there has ever been. But like, it is a defining moment of the end of one of Berserk's arcs that a big magic white tree appears.
The Eld tree.
Yeah.
So we got the introduction to the story as well in that interview, where they kind of explain that there's a big old god tree, and then there's a whole bunch of sacred, blessed people, and then those who walked away from it became tarnished, but now they're being called back.
I'm a big fan of FromSoft's desire to give the player character a name that essentially translates into fucking loser.
Yeah.
In every one of their games.
A name that like NPCs can call you, that's like you and your kind. You know, you lesser than you lower
guys.
humans. You fucking
Ew.
The ickies.
Yeah, all the ickies. Ew. Get away from us, smellies. Get away from us, stinky butt boy of fate.
Yeah. Ah, yes. The poo-poo smelly one. I have awaited your arrival.
Oh, there it is. It's like, oh, lo, woe is me. It is the pee-pee poo-poo bitch boy here to take the Elden Ring.
My ring, pee-pee poo-poo bitch boy. Is this what you want? Come. Yeah, it's very clear that it's just like it's you're meant to be called the diseased, gross, nasty thing that nobody wants in every game.
100%. It's great.
And
I'm excited for Elden Ring.
Yeah. Now and you know, so far the edgelord within us is like, yeah, but I like being tarnished. I'm the one no one wants. It's cool. But I say why not commit to some actually embarrassing shit that you can't make feel cool.
Oh man. I wonder what the possible in-universe justification for the respawn is going to be this time.
I don't know. When you're sacred, you go to heaven when you die, and if you're not, then you get stuck on this shitty mortal coil. Fucking whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
Go collect your money. Shut up. You know.
I wonder how corpse running's gonna work on a giant map.
With a horse.
Oh, you're right.
So in Neo, you can go to one of those shrines and just pay to buy your souls back. But
Well, that's
that's because
interesting.
but there's different currencies, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But like you can basically just be like, yeah, I don't want to do a corpse run right now. Fuck it. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, looks great. Looks hot. Then we saw. Yeah. Okay. Well, there's.
Wait a second. I just popped up in the fucking Capcom thing, and they're talking about Monster Hunter Rise right now.
Yeah, but is this the Capcom
Oh, it's
talk?
probably the pre thing.
It's.
Ugh, I hate the pre things. Have fooled me over and over. Stop having pre things.
Yeah, the pre is messy. Then you got to get your.
You don't need the pre.
You got to go get your toilet paper to clean up the pre.
All right, I'm gonna go take a piss. When I come back, we should probably switch over to the Capcom shit.
All right, which is gonna be a time travel moment for you guys.
Yeah, so the podcast will just zoop on over.
Go pee and wipe up your pre.
No.
Okay, don't wipe up your pre. See what happens.
Okay, I'll let it. Yeah, I'll sit in it. Do you want me to stop recording the podcast and to start a new one later?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do that. Do you want to go to Be Right Back before we do that?
Sure.
satisfaction when you finally get the wind
Okay, so we're back, and I got the stream up.
It's not the podcast anymore, guys. Now it's a Let's Watch. I gotta be real. C3 has been kind of a bunch of piss.
Well, I don't remember the last time anyone's really like not felt that way.
I don't know, like 5-6 years.
But I think because the cool shit always is just a trailer for a thing that comes out of nowhere on its own schedule.
Yeah.
These gathering of drops has not been exciting for a very long time.
I mean, it used to be that you'd watch like the Sony conference, or like you used to watch the Microsoft conference, and there'd be a bunch of cool games, and then Devil May Cry 5 would fucking show up.
Yeah. I prefer just waking up and seeing a tweet from a company saying, "Here's our fucking thing, look at it."
Yeah.
You know?
I hope that's what we're gonna get from Capcom. It would be nice to see Dragon's Dogma. I'm a big Dragon's Dogma fan. I like that.
Well, didn't they already put out that it's going to be about Dragon's Dogma, or that it's going to be about Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, and something else?
Yeah, but I mean, they never announced the one more thing, right?
It wouldn't be the worst time to just tell the world that Street Fighter 6 exists.
They're in a very bizarre place because of the leaks.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be the worst. It wouldn't be the worst time to just say, "Hey, this exists."
Ooh, if you're 17 or under, get out of here, idiots! There's gonna be blood on the screen from Capcom.
Ace Attorney is getting a resurgence. Phoenix Wright is happening again more and more. That's cool. Because it's like one of those like cool but otherwise forgotten cobwebbed franchises. So, all right, here we go. Please don't.
I see a big Capcom logo.
Don't
have a. Come on, you need Dragon.
Don't do a DMCA, please, for watching this.
Well, luckily, this is on the podcast channel.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't. Some motherfucker got taken down for having running water.
Well, just don't breathe softly either, dude.
Let me juice it a bit.
This lady looks like a robot.
I'm back in time. I'm looking at. Oh, there we go.
E3 showcase.
You're in the future, by the way.
I'm in the future.
Your personal stream sounds like you're a little ahead of us.
So I'm gonna hold my excitement or disappointment until I hear you.
You can't
be excited or disappointed.
I can. Are not capable of.
I can hold it.
Noises will be made.
Our first stop today, Resident Evil.
Oh my God!
The
it's
Resident
nothing.
Evil franchise continues to
I don't know what
the
I'm looking
latest
at.
And greatest in survival horror.
Hey, does this have a
The
mercenaries
team has
mode?
been blown away by the response to Resident
It does.
Evil Village,
It's not
which
as good as the
launched
others.
last month.
Oh.
It brought the world another chapter in this decades-long story.
Should
as
that
the
continue
franchise
being
celebrates its
a
25th anniversary
included
this year.
like thing, or should it be its own
I'm
franchise?
Absolutely,
honored to
100%.
introduce Tsuyoshi Kanda,
Even this
producer on
not
Resident
as
Evil
good
Village,
mercenaries
with a
mode
special
is still
message
pretty
for the
good.
fans. Another time.
What if Bloody Palace was its own game that came out more frequently, but wasn't as good or as like
I'd buy it.
content packed, but it was just a excuse for more missions and enemy remixes,
characters.
Yeah, it'd be, but like as long as it wasn't full price.
I think it's time you left things in my hands. Go on, rest now.
Because yeah, from when I saw Mercenaries like being all hyper and shit, like it looked like, oh, that's a cool.
So they just started showing reverse footage like 5 seconds ago for me. Are you there yet?
No, we just saw the Village producer show up.
Oh wow, I'm like 15 seconds ahead.
We hope you're enjoying this new chapter
Wow.
of survival horror.
I don't know.
As
This
a
is
reminder,
it is
I'm
what
a-
it is.
I'm a
Everyone who
future
purchases
man,
Resident Evil
guys.
Village will gain free access
Yeah.
to our
Also, if
online
you're
multiplayer
whatever,
game, Resident
I
Evil
am sure whatever they're
Outlaws,
covering now is
where
going to
players
super
go
include
head-to-head with
spoilers
their
and things
favorite
for
Resident
anyone.
Evil
Oh,
heroes
this
and
game!
violence.
Oh man!
I'm now happy to announce that Resident Evil RE version will go live
Oh
next
yeah,
month
this thing. Right,
all supported
right.
platforms. So
Totally
head
forgot
into
about
the
that.
crate to
That's a
celebrate
thing.
The Resident Evil 25th anniversary.
Giant police station, was it?
Wooly, if you refresh, do you think it'll kick it forward?
I'll try.
Because they announced that they're going to make a DLC for Village, and that's cool.
All right, now I'm on the transition to Monster Hunter Stories 2.
Okay, that's much closer.
This was his fate.
The good Pokemon? Nah, you can't call this the good Pokemon
Against the
anymore.
awesome power of nature,
We got fucking
there was merely a man
Palworld for
who never
that.
stood a chance.
Yeah, oh man,
We gotta talk
didn't
about
talk about
Palworld.
Palworld. Oh,
But I heard that Guardian Ratha had survived and returned to Hekolu Island. I went there to see Red's old monster again. Then, of course,
apparently the first game was like an absolute disaster sales-wise.
You were given Red's kinship stone, and now a Rathalos egg.
Was it good?
This is destiny.
Yes.
This is the legendary monster.
I mean, it's a cool spin-off. Like,
Yeah.
cute Monster Hunter World, you know?
I keep meaning to play the first one, but the first one is one of those Japanese games that never gets fully updated in English. Like it's one patch behind and has been one patch behind for like 2 years.
Although it's interesting that it has a kind of like a more kid-friendly spin-off in that the original is not that dark, you know?
No.
But it's like all of this could be included in like proper Monster Hunter if they wanted. Oh, that's a cool attack. That's cool. But yeah,
I don't know,
it's
these wild ass attacks seem a little cutscene-ish. There's one where
well, it's a genre switch, right? It's RPG.
Yeah. There's one for Brachydios where like you go to do a big punch and it goes through like a Rocky montage of like you training with the fucking Brachydios under a waterfall and like running with logs behind him.
Mm-hmm. Now, I feel as if the first time I ever heard about Monster Hunter, I recall being at least somewhat surprised that you weren't collecting the monsters after you beat them.
Oh no! You're collecting their fucking guts!
Yeah. In a world of pocket monsters, it was
It's
quite a
it's
shock.
the total opposite of Pokemon.
You will protect him no matter what.
I'm gonna build a suit out of these Pikachu.
Force weakening. The burden of such great power is too much for his body to bear.
Do people like the Meowskiller chef show up in like other things like this?
I don't know. Usually every single Monster Hunter game though has like its own unique cast of weirdos.
Surely you can groove with fellow humans.
they have the power of kinship. They're friends. They're monsties. Humans carry the strength
Man,
of
Breath of the Wild.
that makes them strong.
Breath of the Wild aesthetic really
taught me that.
That
it's
translation of monsties is rough.
What did it say?
She's calling them you and your monsties, and it's like, oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
even things that were around before Breath of the Wild are now just going to get called Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame. I mean, Wings of Ruin looks all right. I'll definitely cover it. Free title updates for it too, that bring it in line with
Hey.
Monster Hunter Rise
Yeah, there
because
you go,
it's
the Rise
cross promotional.
doggos. Right. Fucking
Wait, July 15th. When the fuck is the game coming out? Okay, soon.
bring a Palamute skin to Tekken.
Oh, it'll get there. Don't worry. Notice that girl wears gloves? It's to distract you from her fucking weirdo freak hands. Because the elves in Monster Hunter only got the 3 fingers.
Isn't that illegal? Because of
epic, right? And
yeah,
how
because of
about that
implications.
The canine companion
No,
Paladin
they're
from Monster Hunter
like
Rise
weirdo
is joining
freak
Monster Hunter
hands.
Stories
They're
2
not missing
as
a
one of the new
finger.
monsties
They
with a
only have
free
3.
title update coming soon after the game's release.
There was
You can
someone
get an
said
early
something
peek at the
about that,
game
about
with the
even in
Monster
cartoons
Hunter
where they
Stories
have
2. Win
fewer
the
fingers, like
trial
The Simpsons
version,
or whatever.
starting on
There's
June 25th,
still
which
Yakuza
also carries your
implications.
progress over to the full game release just a few weeks later on July 9th. That's not the only way to join the hunt. Millions of you made Monster Hunter Rise a huge success earlier this year, and we have even more content coming, including a new collaboration on the Rise. Let's find out more.
Yo, I'm totally way behind on Rise. But that's okay, because none of the shit's time limited anymore. They got rid of that shit.
Oh, you could just catch up whenever you do get back to it.
The
yeah.
special event quests just load in and you just do them whenever. It's much better.
Hold on, is
solution.
this Stories is Switch only as well?
I don't think so. I think there's a PC version actually.
I have a good feeling. What will it be? Moon's blessing emerge.
Because like you'd have to have both on Switch for any of this crossover shit to work.
You would indeed. It's true.
So. Oh, the egg running missions. Yeah.
There's like one.
That's. No,
And you can still use the wire bug with it.
Oh, okay. Because that was rough.
Like it is nothing compared to what it used to be. Oh wow! Black pants!
Shades.
Sunglasses! Holy shit! I can't believe it! This is weak.
The fact that they haven't just hired Sunhee Legend to just run for 5 minutes and do whatever he wanted is, it's like what is your marketing team
I
doing?
mean, he's gonna do it for free.
Just pay money and have him take over
There
for 5
has
minutes.
never been a better time to be a Monster Hunter fan. With all the new updates to Monster Hunter Rise and the launch of Monster Hunter Stories 2 this summer. We can't wait to hear about your own stories of adventure. Well, that's not the only thing Capcom has in store for us this July. Fans of Phoenix Wright will have new chapters to explore with the release of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. North American and European future attorneys will finally be able to get their hands on the Great Ace Attorney Adventures
You
and the Great Ace
Nipponese
Attorney
sure
2
are a
Resolve,
strange
which were previously
breed.
only available in Japan. You'll travel back in
Oh, look at
time
that
to the late
fucking,
19th century Japan and London. To play as
Zeppeli
Ryunosuke
hat.
Naruhodo, Phoenix Wright's ancestor, in this action-packed.
Oh yeah, there's all sorts of
Now,
a
let's
history
hear
of
more about the
stupid
story.
motherfucking assholes with a hat. I think that's Herlock Sholmes, by the way.
Oh,
the
yeah.
hat.
Welcome to the center of the world. Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
This country is incredible. I will become a lawyer. I have to.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this.
Dude, I love these games.
Who are you?
It's cool.
They're so
It's really
good.
cool.
Sherlock Holmes.
Everybody loves a murder mystery.
We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san.
Let us engage in the art of deduction.
I've unfortunately never gone through it as a franchise, but like from playing like a case or two of the first game, I was like, yeah, no, these are great. I definitely like.
It would seem
It's
Love the
crazy. They're
fact-
calling him Naruhodo.
Mhm.
They're not translating his name into Phoenix anymore.
Well, because now you can't pretend it's fucking America anymore, can you?
No, eat your hamburger. Eat your eat your bangers and mash, Naruhodo.
It's
for real.
Like, the setting is the most like culturally required fucking, you know, one about the old Japan being introduced to the colonial era. You know, like you can't fucking, yeah.
Eat your fucking burgers, Herlock Sholmes.
Eat your bangers and mash.
Yeah, whatever.
So we have 10 new cases and 8 mini escapades.
Although,
where you
what
can
was the
take on the
last
role of a defense attorney.
new
we all wanna see some
content
gameplay,
Phoenix Wright game?
Let's take a closer first look
Oh.
at the 2 gameplay features
Spirit
new
of
to the
Justice?
franchise in the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles: Dance of Deduction and Summation Examination.
Because there's 1, 2, 3,
Hello,
Edgeworth
I'm
game,
Capcom's
this
marketing
thing,
brand manager for the
this
Great
other,
Ace
the other one.
So this is the capital of Great
The other one.
Where to?
The Supreme
Okay.
Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
The Capcom
So there's
team is
4
thrilled to
Phoenix
present
Wright
2 new
games,
gameplay
2 of
features,
these, and then
Dance
1
of Deduction
Edgeworth
and
game,
Summation
right?
Examination, coming to the Ace Attorney
I
series.
think.
No, there's 6 Phoenix Wrights, 2 Edgeworths. On Apollo
Yeah,
Justice.
the Apollo Justice games.
While
Right.
investigating to prove
Okay.
your client's innocence, players will come across conspicuous situations
This
that require
now.
further examination with the help of Ryunosuke's legal aid Susato and the
Well, this is a
brilliant
remake.
deduction from Detective Herlock. Herlock will proceed to present his logic and reasoning spectacular, a grandiose yet flawed series of conjectures.
Man, the presentation on this is fantastic.
I sure would love to see these character models dropped into a Capcom versus Capcom.
Yeah, yeah.
He's got a sword. He's literally holding a sword.
Ryunosuke and Susato will then discuss to correct the flaws in Herlock's deductions. At this point, players will be prompted to search for clues that help identify the errors in the detective's logic and reveal the truth to the mystery. As players present new evidence and observations, Herlock will amend his deductions based on the new information. Upon uncovering the truth, Ryunosuke and Herlock enter into a semi-metaphorical, semi-literal dance that brings them to the conclusion of the dance of deduction.
How did that look in the original game? Did they just like have, I guess,
Totally static.
static shots of the front, back, or
Yeah.
whatever? Yeah, okay.
It would be static shots, and the characters would be like they would show up as like a single sprite with flappy mouths, and then they would have like a photo come up of like whatever detail you're supposed
Visual
to look
novel
at.
style.
This is like lavish by comparison.
Well, the fact that there's even camera cuts, yeah.
Like this is the exact type of like style edition that makes reading like 6 hours of text so much more exciting than it otherwise would have been. Oh my god, it was a lady!
It was Milia Rage.
There's something really wild about this series because like 9 times out of 10 for the first 4 cases, you can literally tell who the killer is at a fucking glance because they're the evil character.
Right.
And then it becomes like, well, fucking prove it though, shithead.
One black, representing a guilty verdict, and one white, representing a not guilty verdict.
Objection!
In summation examination, take the stand.
So is there
face
any
off against
part
the
of this
jurors,
that's like based on
provide
how
explanations as
like
to why they've reached
the
their
law
guilty
worked in Japan so many eras ago?
I don't know how it works now.
You'll have to identify conflicting statements and sway the jury in your favor. Examine each statement carefully and select 2 contradicting jurors to call out the flaws in their logic.
Okay, it's completely bullshit. All right.
Objection.
Because like talking mad shit to the jurors seems pretty like not conducive to getting a fair result.
When you successfully point out one of these contradictions among the jurors, you might just change their minds too. With a slam of their fist, each juror you persuade will send a fiery ball towards the scales above and literally tip the scales of justice in your favor.
Like if you had a jury in a case and you could look at one of them and go, "You look like a piece of shit twirling your knife and licking it.
Yeah.
Why should we believe you?" And then that person goes, "Yeah, well, fuck you." And then they have to, "Oh my god." And then they have to go and do a 12 Angry Men. Well, that guy fucking hates you now. So like, how can you trust the outcome?
We are very excited to
You're poisoning the well.
in the hands of both new fans and diehard fans.
Man, this shit has been long time coming. If not for that bullshit with the Conan Doyle estate.
There are some exciting new adventures and titles to look forward to. Well, that's a look at the new premieres
Except
from
in
Capcom.
Canada.
But what about esports? Let's close out today's showcase with a few words from 2 of the stars of Capcom fighters, Rob TV and Vicious. They'll tell us what's been going on with Capcom esports, including updates on the Capcom Pro Tour, Intel World Open, Street Fighter League, and all the other content on Capcom Fighters. Over to you guys.
Man, they're not going to tell us a single thing we will actually want to know.
My eyebrows
What's going on,
raised.
everybody, and welcome to the Capcom esports presentation for E3 2021. My name is Vicious, commentator for the Capcom Pro Tour as well as Street Fighter League, here with competitive Street Fighter V player and host extraordinaire, Hollywood, Rob TV. What's going on, Rob?
Oh my goodness, Vicious. Host extraordinaire. That just sounds beautiful. It has a ring to it, and I think that's the perfect word to describe what we have for everyone today.
Why aren't you up there?
Capcom E3, it just feels right, and you feel the
Because of bullshit blazing.
It's because you're back, right?
That was nasty. And there might be some people at home, Vicious, who don't fully know
God, what game is
Street
this?
Fighter V is. The long and the short of it is this.
It's just a 5.
No, to be fair, I did plan to like do an episode going back to it since the updates and shit, but man, it's been a hot minute.
Ono left and the game turned into a different game. It's really weird.
The V-Shift stuff is cool, man.
Oh my God.
It's cool. It's fucking, you know. But yeah, honestly, I think what I said was like, all right, I'll wait for like a character or 2 to drop. Probably Oro, because I was pretty excited about Oro.
And then 13 characters drop.
And then 13 characters dropped. Yeah. Yeah. We'll look. We'll take a look at some point. Akira's coming.
I'm in this really fucked up place with that game where I did play it for a little while, same as you, but like it was in a bad state when I stopped playing it. And then everyone's like, wow, it's really good now. It's like, yeah, it's really good with like 40 characters and people have been playing it for 5 years.
Yeah. But like that's gonna happen, right? Right now, Strive is where is launched. Guess what? Like content's gonna come. People are gonna play. That'll happen to every series, you know. There's no escaping.
but I can start playing Strive right now, which I am.
I know, but I'm saying you can't do anything about the passage of time like that. You can't.
No, make those people forget how to play it.
You can't yell at a grandfather clock. You know,
I can, and I do.
Because when a fighting game has stuff going on with it, like.
You can also check out the VODs for all the competitive studying you would need to become a successful Street Fighter V player.
I mean, admittedly, it was very funny when I was at sitting in the crowd with the anime Montreal crew, and like they announced it was when Jubei was announced for BlazBlue, and
right.
Like, I remember the guys I was sitting with that were like, fuck off! What do you mean a new character? They were angry that a new character, because they're like, that's another 40 matchups. You know? And I was like, oh my god, oh no.
There's a really weird point in a fighting game's life cycle where you go from one new character, you go, yeah! And the next one, you're like, god damn it.
You know, when you're like,
Motherfucker.
yeah, when you're studying everything and you're playing the game competitively, it's like it's more homework. It definitely is, but you know, yeah, no, I think, but and not just it's not just that too. Like there's also like 2v skills, 2v triggers. Like there's a humongous variety of different things you can end up fighting compared to.
I mean, right now for Strive, I mean they could add as many characters as you want as long as you pick Soul and just stand there and hit slash. You're good, man.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's not gonna last, but
oh, of course not. But for now, it's fun. Totsugeki's probably gonna get a minor nerf. It just needs to be less plus on block, dude. That's all I want.
But the action does not stop. In fact, we're going to be continuing off with
that's all I want.
Why does that footage look like weirdly filtered?
I don't know, but it does.
Yeah, it looks like they're playing on, I guess, PC with weird settings on.
Maybe.
Oh, that moment was sick. Yeah, that was really cool. I saw that. Full charged Abigail headbutt, and Cody's Tatsu is fully invincible. So the headbutt goes right through him, and then the second part of the Tatsu hits Abigail from behind, and then he combos into a special for the kill, or a combo for the kill. It was like the only possible answer. It was really cool.
This is Capcom Pro Tour.
Also, like, ever since they have like those outfits that are like the full track team gear for every character, I feel like I don't see anyone using anything else, because everyone just looks cool in casual track team duds like KOF style.
Huh.
So that's a wrap for Capcom at E3 this year.
All right, one more thing or no?
Resident Evil Village is back with the latest installment of the survival horror experience and RE Verse as part of the franchise's 25th anniversary.
Did they actually just show us actually nothing?
With Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin.
Were these all things that were these all previously announced?
These were all announced.
Well,
the only thing that wasn't was the crossover DLC for Rise and Stories, and that they were going to work on a DLC for Village. But I mean, we all knew they were going to make DLC for Village.
There really is something for everyone here today. But don't go anywhere yet. Join the conversation on Twitter and make sure you check out the Capcom virtual booth on the E3
dude, like, I don't want to like
watch all these videos again.
Like I don't care about stage and trade shows anymore. I really don't. Like,
they've gotten real bad.
You can just watch the trailer that drops when it drops, like after the, you know, like it's.
I mean, I'll be really honest, Wooly. If I was not streaming these because they're hugely popular, I would not bother to watch most of them either.
The moments are gone. They're just not. It's not what it was back in the day when like it'd be like, oh shit, at least one show of one of these each year is gonna have like something interesting and new to show you. Like, you know. But yeah, no, people do like them, and they do get a lot of people do tune in. But ultimately, I kind of just, you know. All right, well, that was that.
Wow, that was yeah.
Okay.
Well, we'll get back to the podcast in just a minute. I gotta take the pooch out for pee-pee time. So I'll be back in a few minutes, Wolves, and then we can get right back to the podcast.
Okay, hitting the break button again. All right. Well, there was that. So, Kevin Smith is working on a new He-Man. Have you heard about that?
I've seen the trailer for the new He-Man.
Yeah.
It looks all right.
You know what? As someone who is too old, or rather, I was not too old, opposite. I was too young to get into Masters of the Universe as a kid. That was more so my brother's era.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was just because it was happening, but it was just ahead of my childhood, basically. It was cool. The trailer dropped. It was like, yeah, that looks pretty all right. And tactical use of "We Need a Hero" with the drums and such was pretty cool. And then a day later, that song was used again in what the fuck was it? The Guardians. It was the Guardians trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just like, oh, okay, well, I guess, yeah, you can, here's the same song used good, and here not used not as good, but sure.
Not quite as good.
Well, I mean, at the very least, they kind of dropped back to the vocal refrain, so that was dope. But yeah, I never had He-Man toys or anything like that. Again, it was like a slightly ahead of my era and generation thing, but like that was around, and She-Ra was around, and Thundar the Barbarian was what I do remember watching, which was the Hanna-Barbera attempt at I think trying to ape on He-Man money, but maybe it came first. I don't know. Doesn't seem like it though. It was awful.
Man, I don't know shit about any of that shit.
Yeah,
all I know is He-Man was man
by the power of Grayskull and stuff. Like I know a lot about like He-Man and the characters and the stuff like that because my brother and my cousin used to play with like shouting his quotes and using his toys and stuff. But Mark Hamill's playing Skeletor, and that's cool.
I think that the number one thing that I needed to know out of He-Man was what Skeletor sounded like, so that could inform the sound of every skeleton's voice for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. Skullmageddon basis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Masters of the Universe.
Also, that music video about what's going on.
Masters of the Universe started as a Mattel series in 1981, and Thundar the Barbarian started in 1980. Holy shit.
Oh, man. But they're all Conan ripoffs.
Yeah.
Wait, Conan.
Yeah.
Sorry, Conan.
Yeah.
They're not ripoffs of Conan O'Brien.
No, how can we sell Conan to the children? That's true. When was Conan written?
Long before us.
82 was the movie, but
Conan was definitely before that.
Source material 1932. Yeah, okay.
Damn.
All right.
That's old as shit.
Yeah. So yeah, that looks cool.
That's almost as old as Yum Dollar Man, the man from Yum Doll.
Yeah. From the 40s or whatever the fuck the years are in that thing.
No, that's a fake thing I just said.
No, you said the thing from the book series in Disco Elysium, which
yeah, but I mean that's not real. That's a fake thing.
No, but yeah, I said from the 40s, as in like because the dates in Disco Elysium are like.
Oh, you're right. The Disco Elysium does take place in the big old air quotes 40s.
40s, whatever 50s. That means. Yeah.
It means a bunch of bullshit in that game.
I feel as if this is the first time, because like Kevin Smith always has a bunch of ideas that he's like, oh, I want to make like a this or that or comic of this and do a thing like that. But it sounds like not as like very few of them come to fruition. Like, I think he got to do a comic run on something at some point. But this is after not hearing much from him in a while. Like, this is okay. He's doing a He-Man. Yeah, cool. Actually, he said it was supposed to be called End of the Universe, but Mattel didn't want to do that, so they
it's gotta have the name that the kids know.
Masters of the Universe. But no, but do they?
Yeah,
because they know He-Man, but the series properly named Masters of the Universe doesn't carry as much with people. Like, people just say like, oh yeah, He-Man and She-Ra. The brand is actually
but brand.
It's already a weird one where, like, you know, they're not saying the name of the franchise, they're saying the name of the character. It's like Shazam and Captain Marvel. It's Shazam. No, it's not. It's Captain Marvel, but he's Shazam though.
That's just so stupid.
That's the problem. When you fuck up and you name a character and then it, you know, like, you shouldn't have called it Happy Days. You should have called it Fonzie. Fonzie and Friends. Fonzie and his X-Men.
That's terrible. That's goddamn awful.
It would have worked.
Would it?
So anyway, speaking of questionably working, we have an answer to Tekken is 3.
Oh.
So it's funny because it seems like everyone kind of saw this earlier this morning when it got quote tweeted, but that episode went up actually 2 or 3 days ago, and when it first popped up there, I saw that and I went, okay. This is the answer. This is what it is, and it's surprisingly like close to what I thought was going on.
It is way closer to what I thought was going on.
Yes.
Than I expected it to be.
In my head,
my thoughts were like they were cartoonishly stupid.
I know, but I remember that there was a moment that like kind of opened up this entire rollback discussion with like, why is there, or how do the multiple different versions we see when it's implemented in a way that doesn't work, what is exactly happening behind the scenes there, right? So to catch everyone up on the story here, there is we talked about Harada has a show now on YouTube, Harada being the producer and the director behind Tekken, and he's got a podcast that, you know, talks about whatever, and like I saw he had a video that, well, actually the day that Virtua Fighter got announced, Virtua Fighter Esports got announced, he just had a post that said, "Come Virtua Fighter," you know. So it's like, yeah, you know, that's he's got an outlet to speak, and on one of the latest episodes of Harada's Bar, he went on to discuss. He asks, "Hey, can I basically go off for a minute? Can I pop off? Y'all mind if I praise Jesus for a second? Mind if I kill chaos? No? All right. Well, he then basically is like, all right, so everyone goes on using these buzzwords like rollback and netcode, but they don't understand what they're saying. And I'm like, oh boy. Okay, let's hear it. And he describes that essentially what you're seeing in Tekken, and like part of the meaning behind the infamous Tekken is 3 tweet, is that Tekken features rollback, but people are like, but then why doesn't it feel like it? Why does it seem like it's delay based and that it doesn't work, and that we have bad matches and stuff? and he describes basically the technology that they're using that features an input buffer at the front of basically all the exchanges between systems. So to not get too super lost in the code or whatever here, there's a great video from Code Mystics, and this is a video that describes how rollback works, and it also describes how delay based works, and it describes how you can have a blended code that uses both. And this is exactly what I was wondering. I'm like, I wonder if Tekken is using blended code. And it turns out, after Harada's description, it totally is. So it's what happens is essentially is, rollback is when you simulate the inputs based on looking for, what should have been pressed when there's a discrepancy. Delay based is going to pause and wait for that input. Blended is when you pause for a certain set period of time and then run the essentially the simulation. So there's a point at
a lot of games use that, like Guilty Gear's using that because it's on a 2-frame delay on online matches.
So what you end up seeing, right, is exactly what you end up seeing is a set amount of input delay that is like in some cases, like Mortal Kombat, for example, they keep it at 5 so that it's consistent. And then everything after that is going to be rollback based. So any other input errors or any other major hiccups you feel are going to be for things that go beyond those initial 5 frames of delay.
But Harada, why does my game still play like shit?
So what he kind of goes on to describe, he breaks it down in technical terms, and he describes some of what was discussed at a GDC talk about rollback and such. But the end goal is you're going to have inconsistency when you play Tekken, because what Tekken does is sometimes it'll have that input delay be either 0 or 3 or up to 5, depending on pre-configured readings on like how far and how bad the quality of the person you're about to fight is. So if they ping poorly, then it's going to go, we're just going to give you like 5, versus if they're right next to you and you're using amazing Japanese internet, then you're going to be at 0. And Tekken has always been in the arcades and has always had a legacy of 0 frames of input delay. So in order to not in order to preserve that, they felt that they should keep it so that when connection is at its best, it should have 0, but if it's bad, then it should drop to 3 or 4 or 5, depending on who you're connecting to. And as a result, everyone has matches of variable quality that sometimes feel good and sometimes feel bad. And that leads to the world we are in, where on the other side of the planet, we don't have 0 frame input delay matches. We have ones that go up and down depending on multiple variety of factors of the shitty Comcast internet we're fighting against, or the Wi-Fi player, or whatever the case is. So it comes down to, like, if you put in a consistent key buffer is the term he uses there, you can end up with overall matches feeling more consistent. So it's a decision to preserve the way things used to feel in an arcade-like setting for those who happen to be in an environment that is that good.
I have to say, Wooly, that might be the most charitable interpretation of Harada's interview I've seen all day, because there were 2 major points that I wouldn't say you glossed over or ignored, but you didn't get to. One of which is that when he describes why Tekken tends to have sometimes a zero input delay, sometimes he just starts to either lie or make up shit. Where he says, well, people talk about how Mortal Kombat works, but Mortal Kombat's only been on home consoles, so they could just put delay in there. Whereas Tekken started in the arcades.
Hard cut to a Mortal Kombat arcade machine. Yes.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
How
the fuck does somebody who's been making fighting games for 20 years not know that Mortal Kombat came out in the arcades? That is genuinely fucking baffling, to the point where I assume he is lying. I refuse to believe that the guy who's been making Tekken since the fucking mid-90s doesn't know that MK came out in the fucking arcades. That's ridiculous.
Be that as it may, he is basically sticking with the inconsistency for potentially godlike matches as the reason why they will not have a set set buffer, a set amount of input delay, and so this.
But
go ahead.
But like the other reason, like, well, you know, Tekken's from the arcades. I'm like, yeah. June 5th was the day this interview came out, right? Guilty Gear Strive came out 3 days later. Guilty Gear is a series that came out in arcades too.
The other point being the description, the difference between 2D and 3D games and the way the animations play out. Did you see? Because I saw the clip that initially there was an image and it was just people use. It was just an image of Harada saying people use buzzwords like rollback and netcode without knowing what they're talking about, which is admittedly true.
That was last week.
But that was, and then there was a clip after that, which was 2 minutes of him going a bit further into it. There are a lot of people that do talk about it without.
Like, it is true that people use those terms, but the tone of saying people use all these buzzwords implies that they don't know what those words mean. People do know what those words mean. Even if you don't know the technical reality of rollback, you still can like reasonably conclude, hey, I played Guilty Gear Strive and Third Strike Online Edition that had rollback, and I had good online matches with my friend across the country.
Exactly.
Whereas, like,
yeah, it becomes so that's where I was going to say.
deflection.
It becomes an argument of semantics because it's like, okay, so when he says Tekken does already have rollback, and people go, but then what's the problem, right? There's never a second answer to that because effectively, what he's describing here is indeed this is how Tekken does feature rollback. It uses a blended blended system, which again, if you watch that Code Mystics video, it's fantastic at explaining a lot of this. So not going to go down too hard down that line, but it features
there is
it,
an answer.
But despite that, when people are typing the word rollback in the Twitch chat during one of the streams or reveals for anything, when people are like going off and screaming about it, despite the fact that like people are talking about it without knowing what I'm knowing about like the technical side of things, the point is that people want to have matches that feel good. And there are games where the matches feel good and there are games where they don't.
He provides a real genuine answer to, hey man, like there's all the technical things that we went over, some of which I am convinced he is either making shit up or lying or doesn't know what he's talking about because his comparison points are complete nonsense. Like it's ignorant to a degree I actually can't believe.
Which one?
But that the Mortal Kombat's only been on home consoles.
Yeah, that's like it's almost it has to almost be like dismissiveness of the game.
It's either intentional ignorance, which is kind of the problem we're dealing with in general, or he's lying because I refuse to believe he doesn't know better than Mortal Kombat has arcade machines. That's completely ridiculous. But when he says like, oh, hey, how come my matches are bad sometimes in Tekken? The real answer is that you don't live in Japan and that you should wait 15 years for your network infrastructure to improve. You see, it's not Tekken's fault. It's your national infrastructure.
So those are the parts. Yeah, he mentioned the part about how like Japan has great netcode, and perhaps we hope soon the world will have great. Japan has great netcode. Japan has good internet, and perhaps we hope soon the world will have good internet too. And it's like, well, this is kind of the problem, though, right? And
it literally says you just have to wait for your infrastructure to get better.
Okay. Here's why I'm not like those 2 points, the part about the internet in Japan and then the part about the Mortal Kombat cabinet stuff. Those are throwaway lines to get to him describing the way the game works, right? So to me, those are just like whatever. Ultimately, if he wanted to say, oh, Mortal Kombat 11 is not in arcades, or whatever, then like sure, it doesn't matter. Like those are throwaway lines. The crux that you get down to is one where it's like he basically saying like everyone's saying we won't roll back, but we already have it, right? But it's like if someone were there to be able to go like, okay, but dude, the issue is the quality of the matches people are getting outside of Japan, right? So like there's clearly a frustration with like the residents of Rollbackia, as Sejam would say, being loud about their demands here. But if I could say anything to him, it would be in 2013, or rather 2009, we first started hearing about GGPO. And like this has been over a decade. Like it's if you're getting annoyed at the people asking for rollback over the last 2-3 years now as it swells up to a fever pitch, how do you think it felt for the last 10 years as really good code has been ignored in everything? A decade.
Well, just live in Japan.
Right? So it's like the impatience that you'd be feeling, like multiply that by over a decade of fucking, and it's just like it doesn't showing that it has blended code doesn't make the problem go away. The 3D example
but the problem goes away if you just live in Japan or wait 15 years.
Yeah.
So shut up.
The 3D example listed as well is basically saying that games that have really like games that are 2D tend to have like animation frames that are like more that are less smooth, deliberately so. So hit stop and startup and things like that. You'll see a big wind up and then something will like happen and then hold that frame for a bit longer than usual. Whereas Tekken is a lot of smooth, constant movements. There's not a whole lot of deliberate start and stop, or squash and stretch with their animation. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, so then the trade-off is you're saying that things will end up being jittery anyway, right? And it's like, well, they'll be jittery in circumstances where you're having a bad quality match with someone. But the circumstance you're comparing it to say that it would be jittery, it's not fair to compare it to an otherwise perfectly smooth match. You'd be comparing it to a shit match with bad quality delays where the game just freezes up entirely. So between having a jittery match where there's rollbacks occurring and one where there's these constant delays and the whole thing fucking desyncs, you go with the one that makes the animation jump forward a bit more then. Like at least you can play the match out,
No, just live in Japan or wait 50. Are you not listening?
So that was a false equivalency, and that was frustrating because it's like you're basically saying like, yeah, it's between 0 frame matches or these ones that'll look weird for 3D animation, and it's like it's better than not being able to fucking play it properly, So
it's just whatever. Tekken's never gonna play well online. Like that's the reality. This is intentional ignorance.
Towards the end of it, if you go, here's the thing: like beyond the 2 minutes. I listened to the rest of the episode, right? If you hear where he goes off of that point, towards the end of of it, he does describe that like we can increase the amount of rollback frames one way or the other, which when you're using blended code, you can there's literally a slider in the Code Mystics options that they show you, like how many set frames of input delay do you want, how many do you want to go rollback or whatever, and they could modify that and tweak it in the future. So, and he kind of implied that like that's something that we could do, but right now the commitment to maintaining that arcade quality match of zero input delay, zero input buffering, key buffering, as he says, is what is keeping things where they are. You're going to have inconsistent matches because we're trying to keep arcade quality where possible. And if everything moves forward in this strive pattern of like, well, now you're the only one not doing it and you're going to hear bad feedback about it, I don't think he's going to get to die on this hill in the long run. That's the one thing. It's like if other Japanese developers start embracing it, I think they're going to have to move forward. I do.
Like it is more arrogant and hard-headed than even my most negative expectation.
I think the idea of, like, again, at least the way it's described in from Code Mystics and what they do, the idea of the blend can and does work in certain circumstances, but it's a case-by-case basis, right? Every game is not going to have a uniform solution for that. And in the case they described, like, it's one where they allow you to set it yourself in the options and go as far one way or the other way as possible. But when you design something that works well for me, and then you're like, all right, let's do extensive testing, and the extensive tests consist of going from Hokkaido to Okinawa, it's
nailed
it. You know,
nailed it, motherfuckers.
I mean, it's just not. It's not gonna fly when it lands internationally, and you know this, man.
Who
you know? So anyway,
I think the absolute most baffling thing about this whole story is that from a different interview just a little while ago, Harada's like, "Oh yeah, 95% of Tekken's total sales comes from outside of Japan."
Which is why I don't think.
What the fuck?
Which is why I say he's not going to be able to die on the hill. You know, that's it. But if we get another fighting game roundtable where the focus of discussion is how to improve the AI, like, just throw it all out, burn it to the ground.
In the time that in the time that we've been talking about this, I have taken a photo of Harada and a photo of an ad for the Stadia and incorporated them into the Office meme about corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. Because that's how I feel. Like, that is literally what Phil Harrison said to interviews about people going, what about people whose internet sucks shit? How are they going to play Stadia? And he goes, oh, don't worry, the infrastructure will improve to support it. It's like the national infrastructure of the United States or the UK or Canada or Mexico or South America is not going to fucking improve to accommodate fucking Tekken.
Well, I'll have you know, this is the part of the discussion where Blitz code ain't going anywhere. Blitz netcode is coming back, and you're going to see it again. Because essentially, the core of that, and the way Stadia is, the way that Stadia looked at it, is the way that even For Honor handled it, where it's essentially server-wide rollback, right? Where it's the entire server is compensating for desyncs and lost packets, as opposed to on a player-by-player basis. You're gonna see this again.
That shit played great, huh?
And it's gonna, depends on where you live, and depends on your did
we even talk about Virtua Fighter 5's netcode for real after
race,
like my
creed,
initial
and culture
experiences with it?
I did we get a chance to talk about racist netcode? I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, the racist netcode became a term not too long ago. The core idea behind which is that Virtua Fighter Esports came out and instead of using rollback, they went with something similar to Blitz netcode, which is essentially it's going to be you're going to get better and worse matches depending on how close you are to a data server. And the data servers are located in various hotspots around the planet, one of which is in Montreal, so yay us. But if you happen to be anywhere on the entire continent of Africa, there is not one to be found.
So Max did some extensive testing with that and discovered that Google server thing is actually super old, and fact there are actually African servers. There's servers all over the place.
Fantastic.
However, he was tracking his connections to those servers. And what he discovered is that in a bunch of matches that he had with people in the UK, he was being pinged out to servers in Africa.
Oh, he wasn't using the LA one.
And I played a bunch of matches against him and ran into a situation where I was playing with him with 12 frames of input lag. Like, it was unplayable. and he was no problem. And then we idled in the lobby for a while he did something. And then when it came back, the match was fine. And suddenly me and him were both sharing about 5 frames of input lag.
Did it switch you to another data
It's the
data
same
server?
experience I had when I was playing with Susie. And I was playing with Susie, and we had like 5 matches. 2 were underwater for me. 1 was underwater for her. And then the other 2 were kind of okay. And they were fucking switching between servers on a per match basis.
Oh God, it's the same.
It's complete garbage. It is. It is unironically way worse than regular delay-based netcode, because I kept getting in a situation where my matches were completely unplayable, and every time I got one that felt like local, I was sure that the other person was having all the delay because I was dominating them.
Yeah. Okay. Oh man, that is like the net fucking loss is still the same in that it's like inconsistency sucks there, you know. And you're gonna start to see games try to work this in, and you know, fighting games should be fucking running from this. Although I hear it works well in Brawlhalla for some reason.
I don't know about that, but
I hear it works in Brawlhalla, and I hear it works in For Honor. But yeah,
For Honor, you're running 16-person matches.
Yeah, it's a different entire setup requirement, but I just
and the point that Max made was like, these servers cost a lot of money. This is assuredly going to be just as, if not more expensive than implementing rollback, but it's also time limited.
Definitely.
Eventually, they will turn those servers off.
Yeah. Right. The cost of the cost to the developer, the cost to the producer, to whoever, is not one that they're going to permanently absorb for games as they get older or out of the spotlight. 100%.
Yeah. The conversation about netcode and fighting games, and I know we've talked a lot about it, but this past 2-week period has become the peak of absurdity.
Yeah.
You have Sega going through the biggest hoops possible to spend the most money available to have bad netcode, and then you have Harada making shit up, and in the middle of that is Strive coming out and plays great.
Yeah. And I know that like any excuse we have to go back on the topic is one that is, you know, like exhausting for some, but it's like this has been like 2 weeks of like major information in regards to this thing happening. So like you can see a perfect trifecta of like 3 games all approaching it differently, and only one are people like having the time of their life with, you know? It's like at some point you just have to look and go, well, the results speak for themselves. Whatever your philosophical differences are, if it comes down to a difference of philosophy, if you want to talk about maintaining the arcade 0 frame integrity, look at the response and the people and how they feel about the quality of their matches, and you're just going to have to take the
numbers of people playing Strive. Strive has dominated the numbers on fighting games on Steam. There's nothing that's ever even come close.
It's good. Well, I mean, it's a brand new release and it's hot shit. And
no, but what I mean is its all-time peak on its hot new release demolishes other games' hot new releases.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, I'll fucking tighten up my tie and say that some of my lore explanations.
Oh, except for DBFZ, the other Arc Sys game with the most popular fighting game IP ever.
Me telling everyone about being sad about missing wife and killing wife has had a tangible effect. I've got some numbers.
Kill wife.
People tell me they picked it up because of those fucking super nerd out videos. So yeah, I'll take that.
They gotta go back and spend the time to fucking put rollback in DBZ, man. Come on. That game will live fucking forever.
Samurai Showdown needs it more.
Samurai Showdown isn't an Arc System Works game.
Well, yes, this is true. Yeah. Oh yeah, and they also showed off that Metal Slug game, which looks pretty fucking incredible. But anyway.
But there's a bunch of feel bads around it.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? You know what? I'll tell you what we'll do. Hey, you know when the feel bads are around your game or in your game because they're necessary for the setting, make sure that you don't acknowledge the feel bads. Battlefield 2042 says the climate apocalypse and refugee crisis are only in the game for gameplay reasons, not for social commentary.
There is no goddamn way that describing the refugees has any gameplay viability at all. Like, it just falls on its face completely flat.
It's the reason why it's the crowd of people running in front of you while you're having your fight.
Yeah, unless on the maps there's like a swarm of tired and hungry people that you have to drive your tank over. It doesn't, like, that's flavor, which means like.
Yeah. So now here's the thing, right? As we enter this insane fucked up world where all of this shit becomes more and more real to the point where it makes Hideo Kojima sad, because when he comes on to talk about the new Death Stranding director's cut, all he can talk about is, hey everyone, I'm sorry for predicting the world so right. I'm sorry for being so right so hard. I'm going to have to try to change how I make games from now on because Death Stranding hit too close to home.
There's a weird element of like God complex when he was talking about that, because it's like it always like, I'm sorry for causing this.
It was crazy. It was fucking crazy. I couldn't believe it. You know, because it's like, yes, Genius Kajumbo has been right about many things over the years, and he specifically referenced 9/11 for the second time, you know, when he's describing this, and he's like, I'm gonna have to basically think about how I tell stories from now on, because he feels bad about how close to reality they all ended up being.
Too real, bro.
And it's just like, well, I guess then we're going to Gumdrop Land, you know, for his own comfort. But
I don't even know what that means.
I have no idea. I like just, you know, like whatever, as far away from reality as possible, because the isolation and then 2020 just were like fucking hand in hand on Death Stranding. It was nuts. Personally, I fucking applaud that shit. I think it's incredible. But he felt bad about it, right? So all this to say that, like, when your game approaches reality in this weird dystopian way, and you decide to pull a David Cage and talk about how, nope, it's just questions. Who knows what it's about? It's just the setting, right? There's a climate apocalypse happening, but don't worry about it. It's just, here's the quote, it's definitely purely a multiplayer game for us. We decided to go this route so we could create a narrative in the world through the eyes of the no-pats. Of course, there's the fucking, yeah, you had your bit with that, of course. PMCs rolls off the tongue a little bit nicer, I suppose.
It felt fucking weird to wake up to that. Like, that was
a joke about you not being there and not existing was weird to wake up to, was it?
No, not about not existing. Though I do understand what you mean, and that is weird. About being denied entry into like the planet. It's like it's an era of no pats. Like, oh geez. Right. I'm sorry.
So you know, so credit to it's an IGN article that was written about this for Battlefield 2042, and the person who wrote the article correctly points out that, like, so this happened with like Far Cry before and all these AAA games, and like there's always going to be a level of don't touch on the no topics, even though it's obvious what we're talking about, lest we get John Cena'd. it's going to
Big
become
John Cena.
yeah, or the fist in fucking whatever the fucking Ubisoft game was. It's going to become clear that like you're not going to refrain from using clearly political commentary. You're just going to refrain from acknowledging it, and you're going to then essentially say that like we're just taking inspiration from this for gameplay purposes. And as the article points out, what's fucked up about that is the idea that like you can see all of these like wild and crazy like misery apocalypse filled futures that are just around the horizon coming, but you're only fascinated in the aesthetic of how they look for the next map of your multiplayer mode. Like
I think the goofiest
you have
thing
you have 2020 clear eyes on what's around the corner, and the only thing you're thinking is, man, that would be a really cool fucking set piece.
There's I don't know if you saw, but there was a slight update to the shenanigans with Far Cry 6, and Ubisoft says Far Cry 6 isn't political, which was kind of amazing.
What's the update?
Because they were doing an interview, I want to say it was with IGN, in which they said, oh, it's not political, and then the articles come out that it's like, well, this game features communist dictatorship, it features fascism, it features ethnic cleansing, and it features slavery, and Ubisoft says it's not political, which then became Ubisoft has nothing to say about whether or not slavery is good or bad.
Right.
And then the director of the game, like a couple days later, just finally did it. He's like, of course it's political.
Yeah.
It's of course we're using this. It's not about Cuba specifically, but there's a lot of themes, and it's like, finally did it. All you had to do was put fucking Yves Guillemot's face next to the words, I don't know about slavery, maybe it's a good idea. And finally they go, oh, okay, fine. Fine.
And just to put out there, because I feel like almost like you pretty much have to, obviously, clearly, for anyone who can't parse this, any game can choose to make social commentary or not social commentary if they want to, if that's their decision, and there's nothing wrong with going either way on it. You can go all in or you can go all out. It's a medium. You can do whatever you want with a medium, right? When you choose to do it and then back the fuck off and pretend you're not doing it, don't piss on my head and tell me it's raining. Fuck you. It's clear. So that's the difference. It's not the choice one way or the other.
Dude, it's raining though.
It's fucking pouring outside.
It's super. Ooh, here's the thunder. Oh no!
Dreads absorb the
hail.
rain, man. Dreads absorb the rain, dude. They get the hair gets wet for all heavy. I gotta squeeze it out. Dry it with a towel. What the fuck?
Oh my god! Did we not fucking talk about David Cage? Was that in the past 2 fucking weeks?
I guess it was.
Holy fucking shit. All right. Give me a second.
I mean, like, it's been an ongoing story about how the stupid conditions working at Quantic Dream have caused lawsuits to occur because people were mad uncomfortable, and then in court, it sounds like they were presented with direct quotations of things that he said.
Oh, did you not read the full articles?
I did, but or at the very least, I read the breakdown of not the full article. I read the breakdown, but like what?
Okay, so I can.
It starts
I'll break
with
it down for you because I read it over and over and over and over. They're suing 2 French newspapers. The 2 French newspapers that reported that their studio is a toxic shithole are being sued by Quantic Dream because they're saying we're not a toxic shithole. How dare you say that we're a toxic shithole? And the newspaper says, fucking bring it on, you pussies. So, two things happen. David Cage got onto the stand, and to prove the newspaper's point, the defense attorney for the newspaper said, Mr. Cage, we got some quotes here from you. And he says, and he goes, you're interfering with my honor. You're interfering with my business. And he goes, well, hold on. Let's go over some quotes of things that you've talked about. Now, these are translations, though I went to the French article myself and read them myself, so I can tell you that these translations are accurate. The number for the first of which is, there's a quote from David Cage about all the women in my games are whores. The second is very bizarre, and it's that in the open space, there's a lack of tits. My best guess on that is that he is complaining that, like, the work lounge or, like, lunch area doesn't have boobs on the walls. That's all I can figure out from that. It's a very bizarre quote. And the fucking king is that Quantic Dream does not make games for, and then he uses the slur for gay people.
The F slur. Yes. So.
The F slur.
Correct.
And upon hearing all of this, he stammered out that they were interfering with his business, stomped his feet, and ran from the courtroom in tears.
Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that sounds like an emotion button press prompt.
It sure does.
That sounds like an R1 button to me.
Another one of the things that brought up in the trial is that management knew and was cool with employees photoshopping each other's heads onto porn or Nazi photos and leaving them around the office as a goof. Then they get the CEO of Quantic Dream up there, which is Guillaume de la Fondamière, and they ask him about their hiring and firing practices and note that they are fucky. And when he presented, here's a good example of us firing somebody legally, the defense attorney looked it over and went, there is tons of illegal shit in this. And then they provided more documentation, all of which were copy-pasted firing notices. And they're like, why do these look so fucking sketch? Upon which the CEO looks at the judge and says, well, since I'm not under oath, that means I can lie, right? And just starts making up a bunch of crazy accusation shit about society and people out to get him.
It's good. All in all,
those newspapers are going to be fucking fine, I think.
I mean, those are the realest emotions I've heard in a long time. That's real. Like, they get it. You know? Welcome to Montreal, Quantic Dream.
It is enormously satisfying that we have been calling this fucking idiot out since 2005, way before we started working in this industry. I remember sitting there with you talking about fucking Indigo Prophecy.
Yeah, I think
man, this is a bunch of bullshit.
No, I think the first moment that you sense something off is him dancing in the training thing, right? With the girl, with the main character in her underwear.
That's the credits.
Okay, then it's her falling in love with Zombie Man and fucking him right away for no reason, despite your best efforts to make it not happen, even if you wanted to.
No, it was the Chinese guy in the library.
Okay, all right. You know what? Fine.
That was the instant in time.
It should have been
like, ooh.
It should have been Omicron. if we were growing chronologically.
If we had known.
But
we had known.
That is some hilarious karmic shit.
It puts so much of it back into a different context, because one of the things that we had all been accused of when we did those LPs is that we weren't giving them a chance, and that we were always assuming the most negative possible interpretation of the direction of those scenes, which has now been confirmed to be completely accurate.
The direction of those scenes led to Elliot Page suing him.
Every point that you're like, this can't possibly be this creepy or awful or horrible or racist or misogynist or whatever on purpose. No, it was on purpose. It was actually totally on purpose.
So those moments of are you jumping into another person's body to have a weird cuck scene where you fuck the guy's wife inside of the body, and you're like, what is this actually what it appears to be? And it's like, it's absolutely what it appears to be. That's 100% intentional. Every one of those moments of like, is that? Yes, the answer is hard yes, underlined.
Hey, Wooly. Let me ask you a question. You ready for this? What if, get ready for this, black people were robots? Think about it.
I'm going to go to bed on that one. I got to sleep on it. I got to sleep on that one. I really got to.
You know what? Oh, God, I can't remember if it was Feels or Buttons, but point out, in Heavy Rain, how everyone's like a 3D modeled character that's scanned in from a real person?
Mm-hmm.
Except for one person? Do you remember the one person in Heavy Rain that is not scanned in?
Is it the black guy?
It's the evil black guy!
That's cool.
Do you remember when people accused David Cage of not being super great with gay people, and he started screaming about how he's worked with Elliot Page? How dare they?
Of course.
And everyone was like, that's literally no defense at all. Yeah. It's like...
Hey, your kid died. Put a baby in me.
It's incredible, because you go back to the LP, of which I think the title card in all of them is Willem Dafoe and Elliot Page sitting there looking like they're going to kill themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Next to David going, ha, ha, ha. And like, yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That must have been just as shit as you would have expected.
Yes. How dare you? I have gay friends, and my games are not for them.
And like, I think it's a fairly safe assumption that you can autocomplete any number of phrases you want with any group that you want about any topic that you want if the guy's standing there going, we don't make games for queers. Right? And using the slur in the middle of his office. Right? Like, I can't even imagine the shit that was said behind closed doors when they were making Detroit.
I just want to see.
I can't even fucking imagine.
I just want to see the vertical slice of the game that never got released, where you just go on a rampage in an asylum where just mentally ill people are pouring out like World War Z. You know, Just there's the cutting room floor. Anyway.
Sony's gonna drop that fucking company.
Quantic fucking reality. So what?
You know what's great about a Quantic Dream? It's by its definition, it's an ephemeral thought that exists in both a state of being real and not real simultaneously. So it looks like it's about their turn to become an unreal thought.
It's ephemeral. Yes. Okay. Oh, were they already dropped by Sony? Is that correct?
I don't know about that, but like I feel confident that no one at Sony wants to handle the interview that is, so how come you hired David Cage after all that shit?
Well, but this is the actual superpower, is after every ridiculous release, he somehow managed to get enough power and momentum behind him to just do it again. And the AAA pretty graphics made everyone go like, "Wow, it's so pretty and so thoughtful, amazing game." You know, it tricks your cousin into thinking it's a fucking system seller, and it happens every single time. Maybe the difference though this time being that the character of the man is what's being put up as opposed to the quality of the product. Maybe that'll make a difference. Who knows? But he's managed to fucking slip and escape and make some crazy fucking, bigger project or work on something else every time. So I'm not convinced that this is it. Like, this is not the last.
It's funny because you mentioned we were talking about Genius Kojumbo earlier, and also people have pointed out that Quantic Dream is their own publisher now, so they don't need Sony to gut their back, so they can live in their own world. But you mentioned Genius Kojumbo earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Genius Kojumbo, his face and name and personality and persona have become his studio, right? It's literally Kojima Productions. David Cage is similar in that respect to Quantic Dream. And I'm just thinking, what would have happened to Metal Gear or Death Stranding if you open up your newspaper and it's Hideo Kojima is guilty of a string of hate crimes, or got caught eating a baby, right? That would fuck up those goddamn releases pretty bad.
It would fuck with the brand. You would fuck with the money.
Yeah.
The bag would no longer be secured. But
that's what we're looking at here.
But when we read that interview years ago where that other guy was like, yeah, we're bringing a team of writers and other staff to insulate David.
To dilute him.
To pour more water in on his fucking recipe. It makes it as if it's like, well, this could also be a situation where they can be like, well, we're a studio, he leaves, and then they just keep making games, and then they just do other shit.
I would be so excited to see a Quantic Dream game that David Cage did not work on.
It could absolutely exist. It could go the way, like Itagaki style, where
because
they just
then you get to see
if they want to.
if it's just like the head of the snake or it's all snake. Right? Like, if David Cage leaves and the game comes out and you're like, this is incredible, you're like, wow, it really was him. But if it's exactly the same, you're like, oh wow, it's all of them. They're all like that.
Yeah, but I feel like it is the head of the snake, if only because we've never, like, well, that's not true. That was a blatant lie. I was almost about to say. Like, we've never had complaints on a technical level, but that's insane. But Detroit, the most recent offering, was legitimately technically sound.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was very pretty. It ran really well.
And when you have the ability to make characters and environments like that and do the things they can do on a technical level, but you just remove the asshole from telling them what to do, then you can get something like Until Dawn, you know? Like, it's just a great, fucking great narrative story. Put it out, no problem. No robots having a dream.
It's just it feels like it's the most satisfied I've ever. How do I put this? You know when you meet somebody and you just know you're an asshole, but you just can't prove it. You just can't quite prove it.
Isn't that what Phoenix Wright is about? Isn't that what we were just discussing?
Kind of is. And you're like, I don't know about this guy. This guy's an asshole. People are like, they're fine. They're fine. You're overreacting. And then they prove it themselves.
I mean, admittedly, the smoking gun
real satisfying.
The smoking gun before this was a farting dick and balls, was it not?
It's not a rugby. It's not a rugby cloakroom. They said, as they were not aware of a farting dick and balls on the whiteboard behind them. It's an incredible quote to read in a newspaper article.
And those are the ones that they brought to the courtroom, right? Like, none of those have anything to say about what was said in private meetings behind closed doors and whatever other circumstances. But
yeah, all the quotes that like we described were things that must have been like on the open development floor that like 20 people heard. Not the shit that was in like 3 or 4 person meetings.
If you really want to have a baffling head fuck of a moment, try to think about what someone who's writing these stories about these charged topics on race and fucking like major social unrest and someone who like legitimately writes this way and then also acts and thinks this way and speaks this way and talks this way and is this way. Like, what's the bridge behind your actual messaging then here?
I can tell you right now.
How do you parse these things together?
Right now, I'm going to put words in David Cage's mouth. Words that I have assumed for a long time but always seemed ridiculous and mean even for me about Detroit. Because Detroit is what if black people were robots? Because remember, it's not about race. It's not about civil rights. Right? And all I can think of when I look at Detroit is a guy writing a story, and he wants to write it about civil rights, but he decides to make most of the characters white because he goes, well, nobody will care if it's about actual minorities or black people. I've got to make it about, like, you know, something people will care about, like robots. Like, that's what I assume is going through his fucking head.
You know, this evil spiritual AI is not scary enough. We need to make it Native American.
Oh man, you want to talk about Indigo Prophecy? We could clear the fucking rest of the day.
We need to put the headdress and on with the feathers, and now it's scary.
That shit's confusing. Like, I feel like if we really broke it down, there'd probably be more outrageous shit in Indigo Prophecy than any of the other games, but it's so legitimately confusing that...
Well, because it like Indigo, like Omicron before it, like, except this takes place on Earth, so they don't have the liberty of just making up, like, random races and culture,
Magic.
whatever. Magic, exactly. Like, Indigo gets to just be like, okay, we need a movie trope here to match the emotion of the scene. And if the thing in his head happens to be, I don't know, angels attacking or the apartment attacks you
that happened.
or whatever,
Yeah, the books.
then you know, then it's like that's what he felt in that moment. But if it happened to be like scary foreigners, you know, if it happened or just like random witches, like it's like whatever fear thoughts he had that morning, then just got committed to paper and then to disc. Everything scary to him. You know? Yeah. Anyway. Hang it up. Now, you want to talk about social commentary in your games. Let's not talk about Indigo Prophecy. Let's talk about Palworld. Let's talk about Palworld.
Palworld? That sounds like a wholesome adventure with your buddies. Your pals, in fact.
Those buddy pals are sure real friendly. They'll literally take a bullet for you.
And cry.
So, Craftopia announced a new game called Palworld, where you collect and raise mysterious creatures called Pal in a next-gen open-world survival crafting game. And from what I can see, we got ourselves a little Temtem style cute buddy adventure with you and your animal running around.
There's some recolors of what are obviously Pokemon.
And exactly 11 seconds into the trailer, someone pulls a gun out and starts shooting at you as you surf on your bird. And you're like, that's gunfire. That's, I mean, a little extreme, but video games do have shooting mechanics pretty commonly, so fine, you know.
Okay, all right, yeah.
And then the the gun firing becomes more and more pronounced as you your monster attacks at the same time, and then you see your pals building houses for you.
And and mowing and harvesting wheats. And
you're like, oh, okay. And then around a minute in, you pick up a little sheep and it blocks bullets. And it's crying.
As it wails in tears. And then you toss it to the side like a piece of shit. And blows it away with a shotgun.
And then they continue to cut back to friendly adventuring. And then the last 20 to 30 seconds are just, here's a shot of your pals building guns in a factory on a fucking assembly line.
They're emaciated. They're miserable.
Here's you sniping.
You poaching so many of these little bird fuckers that they're being pushed out of the cage.
They're crammed in a cage as if it were a fucking PETA video. Here's a shot of your Zangoose-looking pal blocking the bullets for you as you know, you fucking take your shots.
You take cover behind it. Yeah.
Here's your cute little monkeys churning the wheel, literally like a donkey, to keep the lights on.
You notice that they're pot leaf monkeys?
Are they? Is that? Oh, yeah.
They're
okay.
green. They have fucking pot leaves on their fucking heads.
They absolutely have marijuana leaves on their head. Perfect. And then you go fishing and you electrocute the entire lake and kill all the fish.
That is the absolute.
That's the one.
It's funny because that's not a gun.
But that's the one, though, because
But the idea of what if Ash strapped Pikachu to a fishing rod and went dynamite fishing with fucking Thunderbolt is the most incredible fucking thing. Because
every game in the world, every single game ever made, fish, catch a fish, you got a big one, yeah. Palworld, overfish the lake, kill everything, go on your merry way.
You did it. You got them all.
Oh, you could only carry 2 of them though to sell.
Whatever, just leave the rest to rot. And then you go to the website, and the website has screenshots of the fucking pals on the assembly line going, make sure to feed them because they will work in their factory until they die.
So it's important to, after you see the trailer, then go see the official description. Exactly. So building Do you want to build a pyramid? You can have a large number of pals work on construction. Don't worry, labor laws won't be applied to pals. Factory and automation. It is essential for automation to let pals do the manual work. Build a factory. Place pals in it. They will work forever as long as they're fed until the end of their lifetime. Dungeon exploration. With pals, you'll be able to be safe in dangerous areas. If you're in danger, use pals to cover your escape. They'll give their lives to protect you. Poaching and crime. Endangered species pals live in the hunting prohibited area. If you sneak in and catch them, you'll get tons of money. It's only illegal if you get caught. This is the greatest fucking thing I've heard of. This is the greatest buddy monster game ever made. Free, easy, on a fucking rocket ship with a bullet.
It is the game you and I and almost everyone I have ever met in my life at one point invented talking to their friends in elementary or high school.
So I downloaded Temtem on my PS5. I'm about to go delete it. Because I don't have multiple Pokemon games left in me, but I do have the energy for something like this.
For this.
I got the energy for this. I can... you know.
It's...
Wow.
Oh, man. It's...
So this is Cryotopia. Craftopia, excuse me. And...
No, Craftopia's... Wait, is that the dev? Because they made a game called Craftopia.
Pocket Pair, excuse me. Pocket Pair.
Because Craftopia is their Breath of the Wild build survival game that they made.
Sure. Now, is that at all, like...
Let's find out.
Tongue-in-cheek
Good at
about
all?
Fucking... this type of commentary and humor?
Recent reviews are mixed. General reviews are very positive.
Yeah, I just want to know if Craftopia is calling out some wild bullshit practices, because that's hilarious. And I see what you say when you go Breath of the Wild on it again. Yeah, okay. It's good. Breath of the Wild is going to get used when it's deserved and when it's not. It's just a thing now. Too bad.
The main complaints about Craftopia is that it's not finished, and people are mad that they assume it will never be finished because they announced Pocket Pals before... Sorry, Palworld before Craftopia got into a really good state.
Okay.
But prior to that,
it has
reviews
animal
were
slavery.
mostly very positive. So whether or not this is going to be good is fucking shrug. What?
And this is why PETA is fucking worthless. Could you imagine
this is like the game PETA would make to make fun of Pokemon, and everyone
if they
they stopped doing it
after the kneeling animals? Yeah, sure.
They stopped doing the fake, like, cockfighting, murderous Pokemon games because everyone saw those and went, "This is fucking lit. I'll play that."
Stupid fools! If you had an ounce of fucking, like, competence and actually understood how to communicate a message in some way that might actually be taken seriously for a half second, look at the way this is being handled in this manner. Like, this is exactly it, dude. Like, it's fucking, it's insane, you know?
I have to say, dude, like, because I got into Factorio, I got into Satisfactory, I got into all those types of games for a little while, and I'm going back to Satisfactory relatively soon. There's a very bizarre thing that happens with this genre that your morals invert.
Right.
Like, as
because
soon
you
as
gotta
you
min-max
start,
it.
as soon as you start playing like Factorio or like Satisfactory, you're like, I want to fucking scorch this planet into a gray nightmare.
Yeah.
I want to make it so that no life can grow.
calling attention to that is absolutely overdue. You know? Yeah, it's incredible how effective that could be at getting that point across. Because anyway, whatever. Not to dive down the fucking ridiculous...
Animal husbandry is fucked up, huh? I actually can't even think of a game that lets you go dynamite fishing. I can't even think of one.
It's again, you're willing. I like the reveal on all of those things because you're willing to kind of twist your brain around to be like, wow, guns plus Pokemon? That's fucking weird, but I guess, right?
And then they kick it forward a little bit. And they kick it forward a little bit. And they kick it forward a little bit.
Slowly dial the knob. Yep. Boil the frog. That's it.
Like, the trailer's so masterfully crafted because you're right. Like, the first gunfire is sandwiched between, like, wholesome flying and, like, riding a cart. And then it's like, oh, we're running. Oh, we're building. And, like, the guns don't show up for, like, a little while again. And you kind of forget about it. Oh, they're farming. Oh, they're farming. He's shearing some sheeps. Oh, that's cool. Oh, wow. Warzone.
Yeah.
Rocket launcher. Oh, it's like, camping. Oh, good camping. Petting your friend. Trading. Like it's incredible.
If Act 3 of this game is about, like, uh-oh, the evil nation has gotten their hands on Yveltal, and and nuclear deterrence is now no longer an option.
You must use eugenics to breed the strongest PAL to deter those dirty people across the border.
We have a Lugia. We have time. Yeah. Breed the answer out until you have your own legendary.
And it's like, and then there's the tutorial, which is, what do you do with pals that don't come out of the breeding process the way you want? And then it's just like, that's okay. Put them into the feed machine, and they can be transported to the factory to feed your workers.
There's egg fusion. There's already a shot of two eggs slamming together.
Yeah, but like
Demon Fusion.
Just go hard on all of it, and have it be chipper and happy, and like
and even though you're putting bags on your personas' heads and cutting them off, and then they're exploding into a new form, you're like, yeah, but these are just concepts, and you're in a fake place.
Those are all spirits and concepts, and
but
they're not alive.
Yeah, they're not alive. They have no souls. 100%. Yep. No, if this is the trailer, like, this can go to the darkest, most fucked up places if they wanted to just send the message home. And the question is do they have the balls to? I'm gonna go ahead and guess yes, because they've already decided to put this game out commercially.
So let's say they don't finish Craftopia, right? Like, and they're the type of studio that thinks about, like, oh, we'll early access this until we early access the next one. This one, guys. Palworld's the one. And focus on that one.
And I think the most fucked up thing that could happen to a game like this is it becoming a breakout success. Where they're forced to keep build on it, expand it, make more, just fully franchise this energy. The worst thing that could happen. Anyway.
Coming soon to update 3.2, wage theft. Figure out how to skim a little extra off the top by screwing up your pal's hours at the factory. The hyperbolic time chamber allows you to turn dinosaur-style pals into oil for your energy uses. Like, it just goes. It just goes.
Yep. Everything. Yep. Absolutely. Whatever you want it to be.
Need extra cash? Sell some of your pals to sick freaks and don't think about what happens to them. There's no limit.
Now the question is basically, like, what are they gonna do for like as Pokemon pass out and then wake up in the Pokemon Center when Nurse Joy revives them? Like, are we in a world where there's PAL permadeath? I'm gonna go ahead and assume so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume so.
I'm waiting for the cutscene where you fight youngster Joey and he sends out his Electabuzz knockoff and you beat it and then you pull out your pistol and ice him. And you go, should have trained harder, Joey.
New game
Enjoy
normal
your shorts.
difficulty is literally a Nuzlocke. Immediately. Yeah. Turn a craft to turn your downed pal into items and feed for the rest of your team. Good times.
The Team Rocket simulator we've always wanted.
Or God forbid there be evolution branches where, you know, like there's a couple of different Vulpix communities are near each other. Not Vulpix, Flareons and Jolteons and Espeons.
EV
communities not getting along with each other. Do your thing.
It's just... How do you evolve a Pikachu into a Raichu? Don't give him a Thunderstone. Just shock the shit out of him 8 hours a day, and he'll eventually turn into a bigger one.
Get the chair out. Yeah. Like, what I used to make jokes during Pokemon about like shoving the evolution stones down their throats, you know, and it's like, nope, we're here.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah,
we're here. Anyway, Palworld, eyes out for that one. Eyes out for that.
I feel like it can't live up to its own trailer.
No, it really kind of is too amazing. And at some point, like the only like the like I said, the worst thing that could happen would be it being a breakout success. The second worst thing that could happen would be that's the limit of what there is, and everything else is just a straight shooting buddy Pokemon world. Like,
it kind of sucks.
They just stop at that level, and then everything else is just, you know, pretty earnest and nothing else to it. Please fill every moment, every dialogue box with every NPC with nothing but seething disdain for the current status quo. Like, this game should be like the Disco Elysium of Pokemon.
Okay, well, I'm gonna send you a timestamp to the Craftopia trailer. Okay, and I think they've already shown that they got the balls, because at 103 in the Craftopia trailer, you see them going to like a ranch with some cows, and then watering some plants.
Yeah.
And then after the little farming bit, it shows like, well, here's how you cook a big meal, and it's a conveyor belt that just
drops the cows into the
it just dumps live cows
yes. I saw, that's the only thing I saw. They're like on Twitter there was like a conveyor belt with cows, and someone went, from the makers of this game, and just cows dropping into the fucking thing. Yeah, I did see that. Don't worry, the killing fields are more of a yard, or whatever the fuck the line is. Just like, yeah, it's great. It's good. Anyway, last thing here. Capcom did an oopsie. They did a what-oh.
What did they what-oh?
Besides this year's conference, hundreds of photos used in multiple games by designer Judy A. Juracek filed in a complaint where over 1,200 photographs of textures she photographed were used in various Capcom, Resident Evil, and Devil May Cry games over the course of years.
So, I'm not a lawyer or a photographer.
Yep.
Capcom should really settle as fast as they can because they are super guilty.
It is kind of crazy how they released the court documents showing like exactly how they tracked and traced everything, and they're like, nope, that's exactly that texture.
The file names are almost all the same.
Yeah. So the thing about stuff like this is like, when the artists are doing their work, like, this is something where like it is a very clear and possible fuck up to make if they're kind of just randomly Googling things, but like a lot of companies go through lengths to train artists and teams to not do that specifically for this reason. There are resources you come across of like images, sounds, and things, but you do have to check the licensing on them, whether it's attribution, whether it's, you know, whatever the case may be. Like, there's a lot you have to look into if you're going to use resources, which is, as someone who has to constantly like use and do things like this and source sounds and source all of this shit, it's a lot to keep track of. But like, if you become a giant, humongous, multi-million-dollar franchise, this is the type of thing that can fucking happen with it. So you gotta, from day one, either take your own texture photos or like make sure that you're using one that you've licensed out. It's an easy fuck up to make, and to keep relying on the same library over the years, which companies tend to do, because you're like, oh, we have one, it's in the clear and everything's okay, should be fine. Because in a lot of cases, like, I remember there was a DeviantArt like place that would like collect these incredible photos, and they did sell CDs and things like that as well. And it was kind of like, just buying that on its own didn't include commercial usage, right? It includes usage for free projects, usage for students, but the moment you were selling the thing that you were using it for, you had to do more than that. You had to contact the original artist, and that's where a lot of people just kind of fuck up on that. So yeah, just settle it and fucking
pay them whatever the fuck they're asking for,
because it's dead to rights. Like, the fucking texture of a book in RE Remake, like the ram head on top of it's everything they used for decades.
It's funny because you look at you see like a Japanese company, they'll do like behind the scenes thing, and like, let's take MGS2, right? And they'll be like, look, the team went to New York and they're looking at all this shit in New York to get a real feel for New York, and they're taking photos of everything, and like that includes taking photos of surfaces and doors and
work, absolutely,
buildings, and then they make the textures themselves, and there's a reason they fucking do that. It's so they can own the fucking texture, and they don't have to rip this fucking person off.
But when Kojima sending his team around the world for MGS4 is a price that Capcom might not want to pay for Devil May Cry 1 or Resident Evil 4, you know?
Yeah, so like, buy the rights to the fucking commercial distribution.
That's it. You know, that's yeah, there's no real in between on it. It's either, you know, do your own or get the clearance proper. Though I was recently looking at there was a that list of like, because there's a similar thing was used for music, right? There's an album of soundtrack of sounds and like isolated rap samples that was used in like probably hundreds of games, usually Japanese games at this point. I tweeted it out some time ago, or like a response to it or a retweet, but it was like, all the shit you hear, all the hip hop you hear in CVS1, all the hip hop you hear in a bunch of the samples you hear in Jet Set Radio, fucking just like a ridiculous giant list of games that just went like, oh yeah, there's this one album that has a bunch of like, I think it's just like attribution license hip hop on it. You know, they just grabbed it and threw it in there, and that's why you kind of hear like verses where you're like, I've heard that verse before, or like, why does CVS One's like Southtown stage or Metro City stage have like fucking swearing in it? You know, at the end of the verse, the dude's like, I'm ready to fucking spill, and I remember I was like, that wasn't in what? Where would what?
That's odd.
Yeah. You know, and also like F slur earlier on in the verse too, you know, and it's just like what the, and it's like, yeah, because there's one disc that was used for like all of these samples, you know, so it's fucking, it's this definitely happens, but you gotta look into the attribution license for it. Anyway, let's take some letters and wrap up.
All right, if you want to send in a letter, send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. You'd think this podcast would be longer considering it's E3 week, but E3 sucks now and has sucked for years.
As does my fucking spine. But, I mean, you know, what are you going to talk about fucking Halo Infinite? Like, what are we doing here? You know what? No, here, I will say this. The Outer Worlds 2 trailer was pretty great.
What's that? Sorry?
Outer Worlds 2?
Ah, yeah, it was funny.
That was good. I don't think...
Hopefully they can make a better game this time.
Yeah, it'll never happen again. It only works once, but that was pretty clever. It was just a straight-up call-out to E3 bullshit.
I think the Starfield trailer is hilarious that they waited this many years to show Starfield, and it's still a nothing trailer that has nothing in it.
I mean...
Wow.
Yeah. Like, shout-outs to fucking Outer Wilds for acknowledging the nothing trailer and the nothingness of what they've got so far.
I saw the guy who directed it and came up with the idea with it, and was like, he was talking about like, I can't believe the company let me do this.
Yeah. Solid. And yeah, pretty much everyone has more or less buried Beyond Good and Evil 2 in their hearts. So
I saw people that had like the audacity to be like, where is it? I'm like, it never existed, you fucking idiots. It obviously didn't exist both times they announced it.
Yeah. Oh, FF16 showcase rumored to happen in a couple of weeks. Okay, well there you go.
Oh, that'd be nice.
That's what everyone's looking for. Yeah. All right. All right. If you got an email, you can send it on. I might read it.
What do you got?
castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. Got one coming in from Sheldon. Says, hey, Will, Ryuki, and Potemkin. With a recent conversation with some of my friends, I was thinking, if your state or province was in a fighter, what landmark, iconic place would be the stage? Absolutely free, clear, solid answer here. The destroyed Olympic Stadium collapsing around you.
Yeah, number one for me is like haha is the Olympic Stadium. And number two for real is they put it in Quebec City and they put it in front of Chateau Frontenac.
Oh.
And then you'd be fighting near the entrance to one of the inner city walls with Chateau Frontenac in the background.
Are you a fan of
that would absolutely be the Quebec stage.
It's a very pretty building.
It's really nice.
We got one coming in from Peter. Says, recently finished hello Woolies End Club and Pat the Mind Goblin Files. I recently finished World's End Club, the new game by the dudes behind Zero Escape and Danganronpa. Oh, so I guess the second thing came out, because I know that anime was the first project of their new studio. Anyway, while not terrible, the game was incredibly hard to recommend for a number of reasons.
Why?
The unresponsive and floaty puzzle platformer sections were chief among my complaints. It left a bizarre feeling that I wished the game had less, not better, less gameplay so that I could progress through the story faster. Naturally, my question is, have you encountered this feeling where you'd wish the game had less to play? And if so, which games?
Yeah, at about 80% of the way through Virtue's Last Reward, I felt that. I just wanted to fucking see the end of the story, but they kept making me solve these room puzzles.
We talk infamously about Okami and Okami 2.
Okami 2 is my favorite.
Yeah. It's also like decades old at this point, so for anyone who's new and young, Okami, there is no Okami 2. There's Okami Den, but that's not Okami 2. Okami is so fucking long that there's an Okami 2 inside of Okami, because Okami just needs to be shorter.
It also like hard splits itself into 3 parts.
Yes. There's a part where the credits should roll but don't. Mm-hmm.
Also, excuse my exclamation. My wonderful fiance, whom I love very much, despite being allergic to pineapples, which is a noted on the record fact, just almost choked drinking pineapple juice. What are you doing over there?
Why?
My mouth hurts. Sorry.
Why does she keep doing it?
I don't know.
Is it just like I know this is gonna fuck me up, but I'm gonna take it anyway because I like
no forgot
the taste?
She likes the pineapple because it's delicious, and then she drinks it, and then she's like, "Ow, allergic." Right.
Holy shit!
Chaos. Yes, that's right,
Chaos.
darling.
Chaos. Though.
Yes, chaos. Though. Yeah. By the way, incredible retweet on that. That was the perfect joke for the perfect moment.
It's good. Thank you. Lastly, we got one coming in from Greg, who says, sorry for the long post, but it's not a question, just an interesting story I think will rile you up. Pat complained about Total Warhammer's graphical performance, but that game's one of the most stable in the series despite the optimization problems. Instead, let me tell you about Total War Attila. Released in 2015, Attila has a 32 meg engine with very high graphical floor. Nobody can get the campaign map to run above 30 to 35 frames, even when it's not a smooth 30. Battles turn into slideshows the further they last, and end turn phases can last several minutes depending on the campaign state. Turning down graphical options actually makes the performance worse as the game pushes the graphical burden to the CPU instead of the GPU. And of course, it's the type of game that'll never recognize more than a handful of cores or a few gigabytes of VRAM. When people pointed out the atrocious optimization on release, some marketing Viking at Creative Assembly claimed the game was intended for future hardware. This is an infamous bald-faced lie, as the game runs the same or sometimes even worse on the most high-end 2021 hardware. It never received optimization patches. A defense force then emerged online with a bunch of trolls, but a lot of genuine idiots who legitimately say runs fine for me at 60 FPS, but will never share videos of their benchmarks. Once I saw a guy trying to Photoshop the FPS counter onto a screenshot of the game.
Oh my god, that's awesome!
Instead of admitting it runs poorly, you can still find these lunatics. If you post on Reddit or Twitter. I played every unoptimized AAA game, and Attila is easily the worst of the lot while having one of the most laughable excuses from a dev I've heard. On the flip side, it's mechanically and aesthetically one of the best strategy games I've played. So sorry for the length, but yeah.
Come on, Warhammer 3. Come on.
Man. You ever get so fucking butt mad on the internet that you get caught photoshopping a fucking FPS counter onto a screenshot?
That's wild. That's completely fucking wild. I love it.
Hang up your fucking jacket and hat. Retire. You're done. The internet is done.
All right, we're not going to top that.
It's good.
We'll bid y'all adieu.
Just to touch on the schedule for this week. I've got a bunch of appointments to do things with both back and such, so I'm not going to have a normal week again. But
yeah, you're in a free floating state of gotta fix your back first.
But I might be able to get something in there towards the end of the week. So I might be able to get like like Thursday, Friday, or Saturday thing going. We'll see. Check my Twitter for more. I would like to, fucking pick back up when possible. And in the meantime, stay tuned. I'm going to try to get that last 2 episodes of the lore up ASAP for you guys. So that's what's going on the channel. Check out the Twitter for more updates because, everything's touch and go.
On the meantime, over at Pat Stares At, I'm doing the Nintendo bullshit tomorrow, which is apparently going to include 2 Smash characters. And then I'm going to do a full week of Ratchet and Clank and Mass Effect 2. So hopefully people show up and enjoy that shit. And that's it.
Cool. All right.
Bye, everybody.